Hello.
Hi.
Sorry we've been muted for so long. We were discussing Tommy and it and Dre. Dream. Dream. Dre.
Beats with Dre.
Yeah, we were talking about how he accidentally technically cheated on his speedrun, but it's a whole thing.
I thought it was more severe than that.
Yeah.
I have context now.
Yeah. But yeah. So anyways, hello.
Hello.
We're here and we're queer and we're ready to begin the fear of having to talk on the internet to a very small amount of people that may end up being more amount of people later.
Who knows?
Yeah. So,
Who
hello.
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 Hello. Yeah.
It's time to read.
Yeah, it is time to read.
Our favorite chapter. My favorite chapter. I don't know if it's yours. Sorry for assuming.
I'm fear. This is gonna be the most reading I have to do, and I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah. We were gonna do the stream earlier, but it kind of got delayed because my body hates me, and I've been getting real bad back pain and headaches and all that shenanigans. So it's not been fun.
Just take it easy. Just relax.
Yeah.
Just relax.
If I end up feeling like really bad later on, we might have to end the stream early. But for now, I seem to be doing okay. So
I give you head.
Yes.
I give head.
Yeah.
Back massaging. I don't know how to.
Yeah.
Don't forget to get them stand up every now and then and stretch.
Yeah, I'll probably need to like periodically stand up and do stretches and all that shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, just so you guys are aware.
Yeah. Do you want a fruit snack?
I'm good right now.
Okay.
We have fruit snacks. So yeah, do you guys just want to get into it, or do you have something else you want to say?
No. Yes, I do.
Do you just want to get into it?
No, that's what that was. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back and go.
I'm sorry.
There we go. Okay. Once again, we are reading Ars Poetica, Dream SMP fanfic by Zeeskeit. We texted on Twitter, and it was great. And I felt bad because I don't have Twitter. I don't have the app. So I don't get notifications, and so I didn't check up on it, and I didn't know I had been messaged until like a week or two later, and I feel really bad about it. But yeah,
It's alright.
yeah. But they seem
It's
cool.
okay.
They're like my kind of person. Okay.
Yeah, they seem cool.
Yeah. Their fucking profile picture is the I keep
Miles Morales.
Yeah, his profile picture is Miles Morales, who is the main character in the Spider-Verse movie.
Oh, you said Miles.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, okay, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I've seen who that is.
Which I think is PogChamp. But yeah, so let's get into reading. This fic has a lot of poetry, and we're pretty far into it.
Yes.
As you can see by the tags, it has a numerous amount of characters, including Hannah. They're at least like mentioned.
Hannah and Rose.
It's an SBI fic, so it's like Sleepy Boys Inc., which means it's got the family dynamic of Tommy, Wilbur, Techno, and Phil. There's a lot of angst, and there's also a lot of poetry.
As you expect from a fanfic called Poetica.
Yeah. I have a crippling fanfic obsession. So yeah, here's all the things. There's some triggers. If you don't want to listen to a thing with those triggers, please don't listen to this recording.
If you have any triggers.
Yeah. We're on chapter 7. And I learned after everything that opens is a mouth, everything open will spit you right out. How from a plastic bag in a corner store will mince the self.
Well, that's a good one. And after everything that opens in a mouth, every mouth will spit you. I'm gonna hit you. I'm sitting right next to you. I could just
wanting to start again.
Oh no.
Anyways.
Not that.
Sorry.
So we're on chapter 7. Recap.
Mm-hmm.
Last time we read both chapter 5 and chapter 6. Chapter 5, Tommy went to a typical poetry meet that he does with his poetry group, which is made of Punk, Foolish, Puffy, and Dre. Dream.
JV.
Yeah, and they did a poem that's like about secret stuff, and it was cool. And Punk came out as all pronouns, and it was great. And then there was more shit after that, and Tommy and Dream decided they would do a duet for the big competition coming up. And then Tommy asked Wilbur to bring him to his favorite coffee shop so they could do an open mic. Him and Dream, so they could do an open mic together and practice it in front of a crowd.
I just remembered the scene from the one comic where Tommy asks his brother to take him. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was funny. He's like, I don't trust him.
I don't trust him.
No, I don't trust him.
Wilbur has trust issues. We got some Wilbur POV, and he was like, shitty teens are up to no good.
You teens are up to no good.
Teens are up to no good. And then he found out that Dream was there, and like turns out they have a whole history, and they knew each other in college or whatever. And so he's like, I gotta stick around, and he's just like very sus of everything, and is like, I didn't know Tommy was into poetry. This is fucking lame, but he's having a good time. And he's like, wait a second, Tommy is one of the performers.
Having a good time.
Oh.
Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Also, do champagne.
What?
What?
Wah.
Oh my god. So, that's where we left off, where they went up to the stage and they're about to perform their poem. So yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I know we gotta do that.
Yay! Wow!
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 I've been doing that noise lately for some reason. Wow!
Trigger wordings for this chapter specifically: implied/referenced alcohol abuse, implied/referenced physical abuse, and childhood neglect. There's also self-deprecating thoughts of self-harm/self-destruction, familial arguments, and reference death of family members, self-hate, and therapists. I love how therapist is a trigger warning.
I guess that could make sense.
It could make sense because there's some shitty therapists out there.
Yes. Also, I love these
Mhm.
emotes.
Emotes.
The things that are being used.
Yeah.
Here's my
Drippy
favorite.
spamming
Mhm,
shiny emotes.
And there's the random ones.
Yes, I love the emote spam.
Yeah.
Please continue.
Dead. I like how Shunpai made that emote. Where it's supposed to be dead, like on the floor.
Yeah.
But the way that she made it on an angle looks like they're like levitating.
Yeah, or like maybe like somebody's holding her up.
She's like,
It's like a dramatic fainting.
Dead.
But yeah,
Is that a pig?
Mm-hmm.
so there we go.
Baby.
Baby! Oh my god.
It's little Michael.
This is my baby.
Okay. Jeremy's gonna be narrating, if that's okay.
Oh, yeah.
You can do it, I believe in you.
Yep.
I'm gonna suffer because my brain is oof.
No, it's okay.
I can do
You can do it.
I can do it. Okay.
Let me.
Oh, I just swallowed my entire okay. Tommy's absolute favorite thing about performing poetry was the breath you took before you spoke, and the small inhale as air cycled through his lungs before pushing itself back out through his throat. It felt as if though the entire world waited for him to exhale. Puffy has spent hours having them practice the mere act of breathing. A breath can tell you all you needed to know about the person performing in front of you. She had said face twisted into that sly smile of hers that always meant she had a card up her sleeve. A creaking gasp can tell you if they are nervous. A heavy lungful if they are preparing for a battle. And this team will always breathe as if they are
Dedicating
their lungs to something greater to themselves. You will breathe as if it's all you were built to do, and you will begin. Tommy had at first struggled with the concept all humans were meant to breathe. That's literally how they functioned. But he soon realized that she wasn't talking about the psychological act of breathing. She's talking about what lay beneath, what metaphor behind the curtain of the first read. What differentiated a performance from a regular reading was that even the way that the poet breathed was purposeful. It was instant. Every line was said with care, with reverence, Jesus Christ. Illiterate. And every breath was treated the same. So Tommy practiced in his everyday life. Counting the inhales and exhales, they were coupled within his bedroom at night, muttering to himself that each oxygen molecule was an ode to as it found itself a home in his bloodstream, allowing it to escape as carbon dioxide and bloom into a poem. He breathed, and suddenly he had understood. Now, standing in front of a group of 30 or so odd poets and one stranger, he couldn't help the way his breath caught in his throat, how it choked him and left his chest hollow and too full all at once. He didn't know how he could do this, how he could open himself up to to be seen as he truly was, for them to scrutinize each bubble of oxygen bouncing in his veins, and each gush of air in the flaps of his lungs. Ew. There were so many odes hiding within him, and he was afraid that they would see who they were dedicated to. And yet, next to Dream, who stood with his shoulders thrown back as if facing an army, already victorious in the curl of his lips and flexing of his fingers around his phone case, Tommy felt the weight in his chest become a bit tighter. A bit lighter. The thing about group poems, the older blonde had said, eyes flickering like leaves tumbling from willows, arcing across the sky, is that you're never alone. There's always someone there to lift you up if you stumble. Tommy's heart.
I swear to God.
Look, that one, I don't know. I don't know what was wrong with that one.
No, keep going.
Yeah, Tommy's heart pounded against his ribcage as Dream gave him a small, subtle nod, nudging him to the starting line, and Tommy watched as the man's chest inflated with air. The teen followed suit, and together they breathed.
Oh God, we have to say this in unison.
Okay.
I believe in you.
Can we say this in unison?
Yeah. Shit.
Okay.
So, 3, 2, 1, go. Self-loathing and consciousness.
Self-loathing and consciousness walk into a bar.
We tried.
That was not in unison, but it's okay.
We tried.
I'm burping. Oh, sorry. They say in unison, and with that they begin crafting a universe. Hands delving into space together as they weave. Dream picks up a thread, voice echoing as he continues.
And, of course, it's the beginning of a joke. Because what would you be if not the funny friend with not enough to laugh about?
So it goes like
this. It goes like this.
They start. Dream a jester ready to pounce, hands splayed wide. Tommy an exasperated tag-along who has seen this all before. Despite the nerves, he can feel himself slowly fall into the poem and his characters, consciousness tearing itself from the page to stand in his shoes. Tommy's arms fall limp. Sorry, there's something in my throat. Tommy's arms fall limp to his sides, and he gives a frustrated sigh, motioning to his partner next to him.
Self-loathing arrives 20 minutes late and asks the bartender to open a tab.
And Dream butts in with a quick...
Of which he will be paying.
And the audience chuckles a bit. Tommy feels a surge of confidence begin to fill his chest, and his shoulders fell backwards in determination.
And the first round begins.
Tommy gives Dream a disbargaining look.
Self-loathing is already on his psychoanalyzing bullshit, says...
You take while knowing you can never teach your hands what it means to be full.
And it's as if a flip was switched. Gone is the well-worn banter between these two halves, and the Dream's invisible hands sink their claws into their universe, knocking planets out of orbit and dimming galaxies. Dream's face morphs into a sneer, Sneer?
Yeah, a sneer.
Voice harsh and cold, sending Tommy's heart pounding.
Hours spent clinging to the phone, waiting for friends to call, just to never pick up. You are most at home in the rusted static of a voicemail, in runaway goodbyes and hellos at arm's length.
Tommy prepares an inhale.
And so I ask for a drink.
They breathe together.
Take a shot.
Take a shot.
Take a shot.
One shot.
The timing is... I wish we could do the timing.
Damn Discord lag.
We can't.
Fuck.
That's parenthesis. That's someone.
You're right here.
Oh, I was looking at the wrong take a shot. My bad. I was looking at the one below.
No, okay.
Where Dream is ice, Tommy is kindling. His voice is gentler as he speaks. Thoughtful, the cautious executioner of the universe. His tugs on their threaded galaxy
right.
tender
Yeah.
and soft. He mourns and weaves, words flowing into entangled threads as he reads with his phone.
You snap a wise crack across your knee and tell your friends about the siblings you will never know, poking fun at empty bedrooms conquered by dust and distance.
Bad nights, you lay outside the threshold and slide your smallest finger underneath the doorway.
Dream remarks, bordering on mocking towing the edge of pitying.
Cuticles, carpet burns, and pink, imagining someone else's nail bed just within reach.
Take a shot.
Take a shot.
When you were 10...
Tommy starts, and his voice begins to waver. Next to him, Dream stiffens. Throughout their countless practices, for some reason, this had been the section that always got him choked up. It was where he stumbled, where he stopped a tear at his hair and muffled a frustrated scream. I don't get it, he had tried to say to apologize. Why does this line mess me up? Why is this one so hard? Dream had given him a sympathetic smile and said, because it's a line that hurts. Tommy squeezed his eyes closed, rustling a breath out of his chest, quietly. He dedicated the carbon dioxide to the words he had said next, and the man sitting in the back row watching. Next to him, Dreams exhaled sighs, something patient and soft. He opens his eyes.
When you were 10, you could block out anything for the hums of a video game cartridge slotted into a Game Boy.
Me too. Dream fights Dream fights a spell, and Tommy knows it's one of pride.
TV static.
Yelling.
Tommy adds.
Window shatter.
Slam doors.
Tommy finishes, and their lungs inflate in unison as they speak. The universe they've built pulsing with energy.
Now you've traded pixels with sweated bedsheets and empty cups cemented to desktops. Take a shot.
You don't clean your room.
Dream spits.
Content to live in a pigsty.
Your closet door will not slide shut. Because of its rusted hinges, you do not ask your father to oil.
You do not ask your father for anything.
And this is the only time the two halves will be a whole. No longer are they kindling in ice. River, rock, and sea foam. They are two wolves dancing in eye-aching moonlight. That is a really good... They are night-born and hallowing. They are one.
He's already taught you how this joke goes. Self-loathing and consciousness walk into a bar. And your father keeps beer bottles by the TV set.
Dream does not stumble. He does not flinch. And he is raw and vulnerable, and this is the line that hurts. And his voice echoes. Chasms of grief. He mourns, and the world watches.
You're taught by age 9 how to use an opener. The first time you try to pull off the aluminum lid, you slice the soft pads of your thumb open. That night you learn how to get blood out of your carpet and cry for hours.
Yeah, I know this is.
Oh my god. And Tommy wishes he could do that. Allow himself to cup the weakest part of himself in his hands, and let it roll out from under his grasp. When Dream creates universes, each thread is thumbled over with care, with love. Even the threads that cut and burn. Even the threads that threaten to knot. They are threatened as if they are the locks of a lover.
Your father does not stay home. At age 10, you teach yourself to use a stove and sear the face of a spatula with your palm, and the first time you try to make eggs.
And though it is a memory well loved by laughter and wild hyperbole, traded back and forth between friends and acquaintances alike, Tommy allows himself to hold it close for the first time. Dream had taught him that to write a memory on the page was to cradle it, was to run your hands along its skin and memorize all its freckles and scabs. And so Tommy allows his hands to press down upon the memory's wound.
So you get sick on takeout and scrub down the bathroom sink once your father goes to sleep. Your friends say you smell like bleach in the mornings. They laugh when you say you're in the business of drinking a cup before bed. Ooh.
And there's a mother underground somewhere with a missing face and your smile, and your father claims he does not remember her.
The universe is expanding, is eating away at the light in the room, at the stars glowing steadily in the ceiling. Oh wait, that's...
Yeah, if it's italicized, we're actually supposed to read it together technically, but...
Because
Mhm.
Did you just read
wait, so-
room?
Is it still... Okay. It is stealing the air from the room. Sorry.
Your father does not
Your father
remember
does
your
not
15th
remember
birthday.
your 19th birthday. Take a shot.
That one was good.
Yeah. And you're afraid.
The admission is a gasp. It's tender, and Tommy revels in it.
You're afraid that one day you'll look in the mirror and see that you look
that
exactly
you look
like him.
Exactly like him.
Oh no.
Fuck.
Dream does not admit, he confesses a purge.
Fuck, it was Dream. Fuck. We're trying. His voice is...
It's okay.
You
I'm so sorry.
read ahead a little bit.
I'm sorry.
Dream does not admit, he confesses. A purge. His voice is venomous, and angry, and terrified, and blazing with honesty.
The last reverence of your relationship found in the color of your eyes.
Are found in the color of your eyes. The strands of your hair.
They say together. They say together, yeah.
Self-loathing tells you to burn it off.
Consciousness tells you that this is a trick mirror.
I want to tell you that this is all a trick.
I want to tell you that this is all a trick.
They say, and they open the palms towards the audience. Tommy continues.
One elaborate prank.
A joke.
Because the punchline has to have hit already. Because the funny friend is still performing.
That's Tommy. Tommy starts and
I know.
No, I was saying because it says the funny friend's performing, so I was like, it's Tommy.
It's Tommy.
It's Tommy.
Oh my god, I wonder why this fic. I wonder what...
Tommy starts and Dream pounces upon the tail end of the line.
And no one is laughing, of course.
Their howls transform into thunder, the streamers into lightning.
Because how can I be the funny friend if I'm not constantly categorizing my own wounds
into a stand-up routine? Because I'm still performing. And no one is laughing. And the bottle is empty. Take a shot.
Take a shot.
We're so bad at this. We tried.
This would be so much better if we were
in the same room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We were in the same room.
It's still going good.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have the Discord lag.
Yeah.
They huff and exhale, breathing heavily as the velocity of the performance begins to slow. He wasn't sure when his eyes had started to mist, but he blinks away the tears, threatening to spill over. Dream has begun to roll out his shoulders, tension fading away from his muscles as the adrenaline begins to thrum out of them. Puffy likes to explain the flow of a poem as a landscape with mountains and cliff edges, and plateaus. Here, they would end in a ravine.
On the last day of 8th grade, you get the superlative for class clown.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tommy's voice is weighed down, exhausted. He has felt so much in these last 3 minutes. knows there will be a responding echo to his words against the darkened caves of this poem's end.
During lunch, your friends laugh and tell you there's never been a more perfect fit.
Dream enters the ravine, voice dripping with the damp moss that spreads across its walls.
The night you go home to a father asleep on the couch and kitchen lights blown out. The only lift is from the flicker of infomercials on a buzzing television.
You turn it off and draw a blanket to your father's chest. You tell him goodnight.
You pretend he says it back. On your way to your room, you pass by his liquor cabinet.
Uh-oh. They halt in bated breath as the final tension of the poem begins to unwind itself. They can hear the audience shuffle in their quiet. Leaves, wind, chiming against each other as the wind unsettles them. They can hear the audience start to gasp at the frayed ends of their tapestry.
Yeah.
Dream does not inhale. It is up to Tommy to decide when to begin the end. He stalls, tongue running across the backside of his teeth, as he considers this universe they have made, for the first time in the comforting darkness of the coffee shop. He looks into the audience and sees, there, sitting in the back row, ramrod straight and glasses reflecting the blue lights, dancing above him. It's his brother, his face unreadable, his eyes blank, and all Tommy can grasp is the frown upon his face. So Tommy starts.
You pause.
He says, and Dream follows him. The man next to him sighs, deep and full of grief.
And you pretend you didn't.
Tommy and Dream exhale. The audience does not.
Take a shot.
Take a shot.
The ravine is silent.
Ah! Wow, we did it.
That one line.
Which one?
Where is it? I think it's up more. It was the line about like the wolf in the moonlight. That was the line that I really liked. That line was really good. That one right there.
This one?
The two halves will be a whole. No longer are they kindled in ice and river rock. The sea foam, they are two wolves dancing in the eye-aching moonlight. I thought that was really good.
Yeah. They're not born on Halloween.
Yeah, I thought that was really good.
So good. Yeah, it's the wolf metaphor. It's the wolf metaphor.
It came back!
Oh,
They're howling. They're
wolf
they're
metaphor.
talking about their trauma.
Oh.
I also thought that was the best that I've read this entire time.
Yeah.
Because I actually felt more confident that time.
Yeah. You did good.
We all did good.
Yeah.
That's good lag did not.
Yeah. We didn't do perfect, but if you've gotten to this point and you haven't read this part on your own, I suggest you do, because
definitely
it hits when you read it. It hits when you read it fluently, and there's like so many things, and there's a lot of implications too. I really love the breath thing. I love it a lot, and like it comes back at the end where it's it comes in the middle. Where does it come in the middle? Yeah, for some reason
they talk about the breathing throughout.
Yeah, they talk about it throughout. Like, for other countless practices, for some reason, this had been the section that always got him choked up. I love that a lot, because it's like he's not confident in it because he's not good at showing the trauma shit, and then like, and then like there's the like Dream does not inhale. It is up to Tommy to decide when to begin the end. And it's like he stalls before taking his breath.
Yeah.
And like they're out of breath at the end, and it's like, it's all great.
This chapter probably has some of my favorite stuff in it, so I can see why this is a favorite chapter.
Yeah.
What is that?
What is what?
What Mad sent?
It's a crying. The Rambuang's cry.
Rambo was crying.
Oh, I was like, what the?
Yeah, it's hard to see.
It looked like two doors with like a smiley face on it and a crown. I was like, what?
It's the Rambo cry face. And like him waiting for like Dream's go ahead. I believe it was mentioned at the end of the last one. It was something that had enraged dream, maybe, where it was like Tommy looking at a dream for guidance, and then in this it's like referenced again, but from Tommy's POV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or it's like it's comforting for him, and then Wilbur watching all of this, like, is like obviously put off by it.
Well, we haven't got to that
we
yet.
haven't fully seen Wilbur's reaction, but it's like there's clearly a difference between what Tommy sees this as and what and what Wilbur sees this as.
Oh, we got to that yet. Stop spoiling. You're spoiling.
Was
literally the next paragraph.
Was Wilbur's?
I'm sorry, Matt. I didn't think it was really much. I can't tell if you're slash J or slash MJ or slash S.
What?
I can't tell the
slash.
tone. What?
Slash J.
Okay.
Slash J.
Okay.
I say that means joking.
Yeah.
I'm not actually upset by it.
Okay.
I do have a question. What?
Yes.
I was a little confused upon Wilbur's reaction to it.
We'll get there.
Okay.
We haven't
We'll get
seen
there.
Wilbur's reaction yet.
Because all we know is that he had just kind of like a frown,
Yeah.
which could possibly mean anything.
Yeah. Also, like,
You want to read next?
just like all of the what we're saying, Matt.
Oh, I was just asking if you wanted to read the next or if we were. Sorry, I'm excited. I like this chapter.
Yeah. I was just gonna. It implies a lot. Just like I just wanted to say that because it's like, one, it says a lot about Dream because we already know that, Tommy and Dream had a connection, especially like shared traumas because of like the wolf metaphor and the pack metaphor going on.
Mm-hmm.
And this we actually get some insight into it, where it seems like Dream also had daddy issues and like they're slightly different. Like he had a drinking problem when he was young and like all of that. And we also get more insight into Tommy a bit. Because he goes into a little bit more detail. And it's just sad. And we were like, there's some points where Driven was like, God, like, Jesus Christ.
Damn.
Like the one where like Dream accidentally cut open his thumb. That one hit.
That also made me think, because I've done the similar thing where I was like, oh, or like I ripped my thumb opening like the bean dip thing.
Oh, the bean dip.
I like opened it and like my thumb slipped and I just sliced my thumb.
You're just thinking about that.
Like, oh.
Very different context.
Very different context.
Very
but
different
it just made me
context.
think of that.
Yeah.
Hey,
And then
my headphones are at 5%.
Uh-oh. I also keep forgetting that you guys have already... I also keep forgetting that you guys have already read this before.
Yeah.
So you guys already know what's going on and what's going to happen, and I'm just here like, I don't know nothing.
And there's also like and there's your mother underground. There's a mother underground somewhere with a missing face and your smile, and your father claims he does not remember her.
That, I understood that one immediately.
Yeah. That's a...
It's like, that's sad.
That one, honestly, like, anyone watching should just go back and read it themselves fully, just to, like, get it. Because it's so much...
There's so much...
If it wasn't an actual, like, slam poem, it reads much better than it, like, says.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know how that... But if it was a slam poem, it would be really nice.
Yeah.
To listen to, I think.
Yeah.
Oof.
So yeah, that's basically all I can say, because just read it yourself on your own time, please.
Yes, please.
Sorry, I like to mention things, and then I'm like, I don't know what I'm saying, but I just like it.
Are we?
It definitely deserves it.
Yeah.
Are we continuing as normal, or are we switching up?
So I think I'll just take this because this is just a Wilbur POV.
Yeah.
This next one.
Yeah.
So I'll just do this little bit, and then we can go to switching it up again.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Because it's just small, so I don't mind.
Yeah. Do it.
And also,
Yee.
Yee. Okay. The silence does not last, because as soon as Tommy and Dream nod their thanks and begin to step away from the mic, the room erupts in applause. There are cheers and feet pounding upon the floor, folks yelling out the duo's names and awing over their work. It's the same over-enthusiastic love that each poem had got, but there's something more euphoric about it. Something cathartic about screaming after the last poem of the night. A poem written by Dream and Tommy. There's a part of Wilbur that's still hoping it's a prank. That Tommy will go up to the mic last minute and shout, "Psych! Gotcha!" But the MCs walk to the front of the room and begin winding down the slam, thanking all the performers, thanking Tommy. Because Tommy is a slam poet, and oh, God, is this what he's been hiding? Is this what has been changing his little brother? And reminding the audience to shop the latest discount on baked goods. And Tommy is still standing next to Dream, a smile on his face so bright it rivals the sun. And it burns. It burns Wilbur so much that he covers his face with his hands, palms cool and clammy against his cheeks. His mind is racing. It's breaking itself apart into shattered puzzle pieces and struggles to put the shards together. Tommy isn't a poet. The kid isn't some wordsmith. Tommy is his baby brother who is about someone drinking the last of the milk and his homework, who has his dad lamenting over the phone about his messy room. That line bounces around Wilbur's skull before he can stop himself. You don't clean your room, content to live pigsty. You don't ask your father for anything, and he wants to scream. Tommy's just a teenager with a foul attitude and a fouler mouth. Tommy is his brother. And yet, as the poets around him stand and begin to socialize, Wilbur can only see a complete and utter stranger. There is nothing recognizable left upon his baby brother's face, and Wilbur is trying to act as if the world was not ending, because sitting there, eyes pinned on the teenage boy, laughing loudly with unfamiliar faces, bony elbows jutting into someone's side, and jokes sliding easily off his tongue, Wilbur realizes that he has lost, and it is irreplaceable. Quietly, he thinks to himself he ought to mourn. But Wilbur does not do well with loss. He does not grieve, he drowns. So, still frozen to his seat with his head in his hands, he allows the water to fill his lungs.
Wilbur!
A reedy voice cheered, and he looks up to see Tommy rushing towards him, blue eyes alight with uncontrollable pride. Wilbur's stomach drops to his feet, and he does not move. Tommy surges forward, hands clapping together in his excitement as he launches into a ramble.
Did you see that? Holy shit, that was so cool. I thought I was gonna choke up there. I mean, I did, but I recovered. Dream said I did a great job. He thought I landed the last line well, and I can't believe Dream... And hey, Will, are you alright?
Hey, are you alright? What's wrong?
And Tommy is staring at him. And Tommy is staring at him with that look. The one that meant he was waiting for Wilbur to pass judgment, to validate or reject him. It was the look of an 8-year-old desperate for his older brother's approval, desperate to make Wilbur proud. It was a look that didn't sit right on this stranger's face. So Wilbur did what any drowning man did. "Tommy, get in the car, now." He pulled Tommy down with him.
Oh, okay.
I like how you took out the swear. You didn't say the fucking car, you said
Get
the
in
car.
Get in the car.
I'm sorry. I'm just self-conscious about it, okay?
It's okay.
Swearing, sweat.
So he is upset? Question mark?
Yeah, it's... Well, like I said...
Well...
Yeah, do you want to talk
We'll
about
get more information.
Yeah, we'll get more information.
Okay.
But at least it seems like... It seems like he feels like maybe Dream is kind of replacing him in a way. That's a vibe I got. Also, it's a continuation of things that have been said before, where it's like things have changed a lot, but it's like he's still your little brother. Like he's constantly like been reminding himself throughout of being like, oh, it's still the same Tommy. Like he's in denial basically, and it feels like this was that shattering that delusion that he's built for himself. In a way. And so now he's like, oh shit, wait.
He's like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't know how to deal with it. is kind of what it feels like to me. So, yeah. Do you want me to start here?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. The walk back to the car had been silent. Wilbur had fallen just short of frog marching Tommy out of the cafe, much to the alarm and protest of Dream, but Will had seemingly paid him no mind. And Tommy's head was spinning as he was escorted to the old SUV and ushered inside. He was still riding the high of his performance, still glowing with accomplishment because, holy shit, they really did that. He did that. It had been magic, standing up there, basking in the hollers and snaps of his fellow artists. He had done it. He had proven to Dream that he was a poet. And he proved it to Wilbur, too. Something inside his mind minded smugly, even as his older brother slammed Tommy's car door a bit harder than necessary, even as Dream stood anxiously in front of Kanoko's, watching as Wilbur began circling around the car to the driver's seat. You finally said all those things you've kept up bottled inside. You finally made him see you. The realization sent a thrill through him, and he rubbed away the goosebumps that had appeared upon his arms. He knew he shouldn't be dreading this conversation. Knew that nothing good could come from an angry Wilbur. He knew that he should be dreading this conversation. Knew that nothing good could come from an angry Wilbur in confined spaces. But he was still so euphoric. He had performed in front of people, actual real-life people, and they had been poets. And they had welcomed him. Oh, they had wrapped him in hugs and patted him on the back as if he were a friend, as if he were a part of their secret world. A poet, that was what he was now, wasn't he? He was a poet, an artist, a creator. He was the man upon a high wire, the soft hands rising to meet the wind's bitter cold. He was the sorcerer turned wordsmith, the student who stayed after class to read classics, the spellcaster, the flowers of which bees laid upon and butterflies rest. He was a poet. Wilbur slammed the car door, and Tommy turned to him, unable to smother the grin plastered across his face. Will, Are
you out of your mind?
Wilbur's hands were gripping the steering wheel as though trying to rip it off of his axle, faced forward and refusing to meet Tommy's gaze. Tommy felt the color drain from his face, and his fingers twitched where they lay curled in his lap. Wilbur's lips were curled into a nasty snarl, dark eyes ablaze as he stared at the 2-hour parking sign in front of them.
You got some nerve going up there like that. What the do you think you were doing?
What? What the hell are you talking about?
Is that where you get off? Just talking shit about your family in front of a group of strangers? Is that fun for you, huh? It's fun for me. It's fun for you. It's fun to make us all look like souls at some stupid open mic?
Damn.
Damn.
You completely missed the point there, Will.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes sense for him to feel like if somebody were to say their diss track of you on stage in front of people, like, yeah, it would be iffy, but yeah, he missed the whole point.
You missed the entire
He missed the whole point. Yeah, I don't think he gets it yet. I don't think he gets
not
it.
At all.
He doesn't get it yet.
Like, oof.
Wilbur turned his key in the ignition and started the engine. Tommy opened his mouth to retort, to tell his brother that he was being unreasonable, when the car lurched as Wilbur sped out of his parking spot, ignoring Tommy's shouts of alarm. Dude, you can't just back out like that, we could've...
Oh, like you'd care.
Wilbur hissed, eyes flickering to the rear view as he took a quick turn, dodging parked cars.
Seriously, what is wrong with you? You went up there and Tommy, you took shit on all of us. You make Dad look like he was abusive. You know how bad that looks?
Oh, come on! Tommy Canova groaned, throwing his hands up. It's not like I was just expressing myself.
Oh, you were just expressing yourself.
Wilbur let out a bitter laugh, a mocking smile pulling at his lips.
Of course, because expressing yourself includes implicating your father in a potential CPS visit. Because expressing yourself means that you sound like you're a poor, neglected child who uses alcohol to cope with his miserable little existence. Newsflash, Tommy. So many people have it worse than you.
I want to slap Wilbur right now.
Yes.
I want to slap him in the face.
This is what I've been saying. This is literally why I want to punch Cannon Wilbur.
Yeah, Matt hates him, and I hate him too. I'm like,
yes, so
I'm like, fuck you. Like, if anybody says that to anybody in front of me or anybody else, just I would be like, no, fuck you.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like, that is a no-no. like, Will, like I said, like, he doesn't get it. Like,
He just doesn't get
yeah,
it.
like, Will, like, Tommy needs help, Will.
Like, you're not helping, Will.
Yeah, this kid needs help, Will. You're just not getting that, Will.
Come on, Will.
Fucker. I know that, he argued, and his face flushed red in anger and humiliation. He wasn't stupid. He knew people had it worse than him. He had friends that struggled with things he couldn't even imagine handling. But still, it hurt. It hurt growing up alone, having to teach himself life skills, experiencing milestones that Phil hadn't bothered to be around for. But he didn't lie. Everything he said was the truth. He would never lie about his father. He wouldn't. And sure, poetry made everything so much more dramatic, and sure, it was hard to differentiate Tommy from the persona he had been embodying, but he didn't lie for attention. Wilbur had to have known that, right? I know, but I didn't say anything that wasn't true, and it's my art, Will. My feelings. You don't get to dictate what's true and what's not. Later, he would be proud of himself for setting that boundary for himself, for his artwork, and Puffy would have given him a high five. Now, though, he was doing his best not to cry.
No, but I can tell you when you're wrong, and your feelings are wrong.
Don't tell anybody your feelings are wrong.
Child.
Don't tell anybody your feelings are wrong. Just PSA, don't be the Wilbur in this scenario.
Don't be the Wilbur.
Don't be the Wilbur. Don't be the... Yeah. Wilbur sighed, rubbing his temples in frustration, as if this was just a scolding for an unruly teen, as if Tommy was just a bother. Tommy's nails dug into his palm.
You think that going up there spouting some flowery, sad bullshit makes you grown? Makes you right? Give me a break, Toms. You're just a teen with a nasty attitude and no respect. It doesn't make you special. It doesn't make you superior. You're just a kid with an anger problem, and that's all you'll ever be until you fucking grow up.
And there it was. Selfish, they called him, and swatted him away like a pest. Selfish, they taunted, voices echoing in his ears as he locked himself in bathrooms and fought the urge to bash his head into the porcelain sink, as he sobbed and screamed to an empty house. The only comfort, the echoing of his wails on the tiled walls. He was selfish, he was a burden, and of course he had always been that way. There was a reason he had never known his mother, why Phil had taken down all the photographs of her from the walls and refused to speak about her. There was a reason why Kristen Watson was no longer alive, and of course that reason was Tommy. So, yeah, I'm sorry. This is probably one of the most triggering parts in this fucking thing. It was difficult for me to get through when I was reading it. I was like...
I'm having a little moment.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. So wasn't Wilbur right? Yes, he was selfish. Yes, he was a child and full of shit and nasty and foul, because what else could he have been? The first thing he had known was death, and for bringing it into the Watson household, he had damned himself to being alone. It was due punishment for daring to be born, and sometimes it felt as though it wasn't enough. But it wasn't my fault, he wanted to cry, plead for them to understand. No one was there. No one was there to show me how to be... Who was supposed to show me how to be better? You left. You all left. But he did not cry, and no one heard. Right now, he knew it would never be enough. Wilbur would never be able to forgive him for taking away his mother. Techno would always treat him as a curiosity. And wasn't he a little boy made of death and grief? What a puzzle to play with. And Phil would always look at him and see his wife's murderer wearing his face. That's a strong line.
That is oof.
There was no way for him to...
Is
a big one. There was no way for him to apologize, to bring back what he'd stolen from them. No poems could ever fill the hole that he dug, and he was stupid for thinking so. Next to him, Wilbur was gritting his teeth. If Tommy strained, he could swear there were pinpricks of tears in the corner of his brother's eyes. How could it ever be enough? So, what was he to say to that? What could he do but admit to Wilbur that he was right? There were no excuses, no explanations. Tommy was selfish. That was the bottom line, the truth. So he did. Because I am made of poems. Tommy's voice... Because I am a maker of poems. You're correct. Thank you. Tommy's voice finally cut through the silence of the car, soft and regretful. He ignored the sharp inhale of the man next to him, glancing out the window. He could see Dream still standing in front of the coffee shop, fist stuffed into his front hoodie and face swallowed by the shadow of the night. I said that sentence wrong, but I saved it. He knew what he knew what Dream would have said. Tommy licked his chapped lips and shut his eyes, pressing his cheek against the cool glass. He had to do this. He had to say it. And you, a maker of music.
What?
Wilbur sputtered, finally turning out of the parking lot. Attention split between avoiding an accident and listening to the words tumbling out of Tommy's mouth.
What are you...
Because I'm a maker of poems. He started again, and this time he spoke as if he carried the world on his tongue, an atlas of his own invention. This was his burden to bear. He could not apologize to Kristen, to the family who had loved her, but he could do this. He could make the sacrifice. He pulled his gaze away from the fading twinkling of Kanoko's fairy lights and Dream's lone figure. The home he could not allow himself to return to. Tommy's lips pressed thin in determination as he forced himself to continue.
The light got dimmer.
And you, a maker of music.
Tommy.
An exhale sigh. You tell me the word pristine was perfect. He spat. And just like that, it was done. That night, Tommy had felled death again to what he loved. Puffy received a text the next morning saying he would not be competing in the slam, and a family of 4 became a family of 3.
Welcome to the listening. Sorry.
This, okay, so can I just say,
yeah.
So this is the first time we learned that, Tommy, how Tommy feels about Kristen, basically.
Yeah.
And, how he, now you know, he never met his mom, and he can hardly remember her face, even. And it's, that's heavy.
Yeah. And he feels like he's
put on
murderer.
A kid.
Like he stole something from them.
Yeah.
And that's just, that's intense.
Yeah, that's a very big one. Also, the ending line, I find the ending line hits a lot, but I'm not 100% sure how to interpret it.
Oh, okay, so it comes from a poem, and I did look up the poem, and I kind of understand it now.
Yeah.
But it's basically, I am a maker of poems, you are a maker of music. You tell me the word pristine was perfect. So it's basically, they're using the word pristine here as the end-all be-all, basically. So the person talking to the author of the poem was basically hey, look at this. It's pristine, and it's nice, and it's perfect. And, this world is perfect and pristine. But the thing that makes things perfect is not, or, things are better when they're not all one way or something.
Yeah.
So it's pristine means everything is in order, everything makes sense, but it's not perfect.
Oh, so
nothing
it's,
is perfect.
Oh, I see. So it's okay. So
yeah.
it's Tommy's
So
basically yeah. Do you want to say or?
Yeah, it's basically saying you told me the word pristine was perfect, but because you only see the world in this one lens. Or at least that's my interpretation of it.
Yeah.
The poem.
Yeah, it seems like Tommy is basically saying he's a chaos, Wilbur's basically he's saying that Tommy's existence goes against Wilbur's perfect version of the world, his vision of how things are. And it feels like he's saying you just don't understand. Is basically what he's saying. It and you'll never understand because you're a maker of music and I'm a person of poems. And you'll never...
I like how he actually said he's made of poems.
Yeah.
Said I am a maker of poems. He said I am made of poems.
Fuck. Damn it.
It was very...
And this next one is another Wilbur POV, so
Oh,
I'm
Yeah.
having fun.
Yay!
this is great. This is my favorite one so far.
Don't get me wrong, I like his character, and especially in the most recent chapter, I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
Ooh.
I understand your character more, but I still want to punch you in the face.
Yeah.
I want to.
Give him a good slap.
Come on and slap.
So I'll just take this then.
Yeah, yeah,
Since it's a Wilbur POV.
Yeah, go. Zoom.
Okay.
We zooming.
Also, Dravey can be Dr. Collins.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll see.
Okay.
Guilty.
I take
His
that
first
part.
therapy session had. Ooh.
Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
His first therapy session had been in a rundown office complex with untamed ivy on the front gate. He had only gone because Nikki had pushed about it for so many months, to the point that even Eric needed to intervene. And in retaliation, Wilbur had chosen the most whack job, outrageous, unconventional therapist in the entirety of London. Dr. Collins, or Evelyn, as she was adamant on being called, was a 34-year-old woman who specialized in pet therapy with a bad habit of collecting wooden carvings of goats. She played Daryl Hall and John Oates at the beginning of each session and forced Wilbur to get up and get out the shakes when he was unnecessarily bottling up emotions and damaging his mental health. She took special care to ask him his favorite scent so she could burn a candle during their appointments. That all wasn't to mention that she was a pet therapist. He was encouraged, if not ordered, to play with her pet puppy, Rocky, an unassuming Australian Shepherd mix that had the tendency to lay its head upon Wilbur's lap if his heart rate had picked up. Lover of gourmet dog treats. And often found himself returning from her appointments covered in dog hair. Suffice to say, Wilbur had hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
Nikki hadn't been as amused, but she was proud of him for getting out anyhow, so their conflict had been settled. The first few sessions with Dr. Collins were awkward to say the least. Wilbur had spent the first 40 minutes anxiously rambling about his schooling and roommates, unable to define himself outside of the pictures of everyday life. He was a music production and theater arts major with a bad habit of missing discussion sections and staying up past 3 a.m. He lived with 3 other uni students that were all in a startup indie band. He wrote songs about his ex-girlfriends and missing his train, and homesickness.
Lovejoy?
He had a twin, his complementary half, his complete opposite. He was an older brother. His middle name was Soot. Apparently, when I was born, my mother had said I'd scrunched my face up like I had just inhaled soot from the fireplace. Said that's what gave her the idea for my middle name. He had explained, fiddling with the white plastic lid of his commuter cup as Rocky curled up by his feet. Across from him, Dr. Collins had given a surprised hum, tapping her acrylic nails on the arm of her chair. Yeah, I know, right? If you think my name's weird, you should hear about my other brothers. Techno is short for Technoblade, which was apparently an old friend of my father's from way back.
I love that.
And my little brother is actually named Theseus,
name.
though Techno gave him that one. I guess I'm the only normal one or whatever.
Well, that's me. Do you feel like that? That you're the normal one?
Dr. Collins said in that voice that was too airy. That voice that meant she was actually asking a question that would probably result in tears and a quiet night locked in his room when he got back to his apartment. He awkwardly shifted one knee to rest upon the other, disturbing the puppy that slumbered at his feet, causing Rocky to whine. He fought off a small smile. Sometimes it feels like it. Sometimes I feel like I'm the most abnormal person on earth. I mean, my father was a tech genius that barely spoke to my younger brother and I than when I yelled at him for it. And sure, we talk now, and it's fine, but I just can't forget those 5 or so years when I was left alone with a toddler. My twin was a fencing prodigy who got a big-time scholarship at Amherst College, and he was just, I don't know, like my dad. He's good at what he does, they both are, and I'm a moody drama major in England, of all places.
I think you're good at what you do. You love music, and from what I've heard, you're more than just good at it. What does that make you different from your family?
Dr. Collins continued her rhythm of nails on armrest. Wilbur tried to find a coherent melody in the tapping. I guess I just am different. I was always he sucked his front teeth, a grimace overcoming him. The sensitive one? Out of place? The one my father couldn't understand, but neither of them could understand. They treated me like I was a bomb waiting to blow. Or a villain. There were so many nights where I thought they'd be better if I just... At his feet, Rocky whined, and Wilbur bit his lip. I'll admit, it wasn't entirely his fault. It was hard. After my mother's death. None of us knew how to deal with mourning her and taking care of a newborn baby, and my dad was suddenly trying to cover the expenses of her medical bills and the funeral costs, and having to be both mom and dad. It wasn't easy dealing with techno becoming social recluse and my anger issues, and Tommy was just...
A baby.
He stalled. Unable to find the words to wrap around what those first few years had been like, coming home from the hospital with his mother gone. Nothing more than a few framed photos on a wall and a memory. That all was left of her was a squirming, wailing baby, skin flushed with pink and face always squished in an ugly frown. Tommy had been an unhappy infant, one of late night screaming and refused formula milk. At first, Wilbur had hated the thing. Why did Tommy get to cry? As if he knew their mother. As if he were able to grieve someone he'd never met. Why did this stupid baby get to scream and wail and sob, and Wilbur had to cry alone at night under the covers? His hate was quick to dissipate, because truly Tommy was a great little brother. He was sweet and courteous, and sure, he was a bit of a terror when he wanted to be, but he laughed it. He laughed. He laughed as if it was the entire world, as if the entire world failed to hear it. Wilbur had grown up thinking that Tommy was the greatest gift they could have ever been given, and even if Mom wasn't there anymore, even if Wilbur would never get to lay his head upon her chest and just hug her, Tommy had been his bright spot in the dark time. He was just added pressure. Wilbur finally settled on, that we couldn't really handle. It didn't really help that Techno and I were only 8 and had no idea how to deal with a little brother, and Dad was just really struggling.
Oh, I'm lost.
Fuck, we lost.
I'm lost and confused. I'm sorry.
That must have been hard.
Oh.
Oh, right here. Okay,
Did we not? Oh, yeah, wait, okay.
we're right here.
That must have been hard, and you should be proud of yourself for getting through that and
I'm gonna go
coping
check
with
that
this
the
you
oven
can.
is off.
Good idea, actually.
Yes.
I completely forgot about that. Also, the light doesn't...
I was gonna wait because the light automatically like dims around this time of night, and then I believe at 9 in like 4 or so minutes it should turn black.
Black?
Well, the light should turn completely off, and then I was gonna wait till there and then turn it on because then it wouldn't stop doing.
It would just
thing.
stop.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Anyway,
Coping as best you can.
Keep reading.
Wilbur found himself... I was going to keep reading.
I'm sorry.
Wilbur found himself wilting under the praise. Had he coped? He didn't think so. There were enough shattered cups and slammed doors as evidence to that.
I want to divert our attention a little bit. You mentioned Tommy a lot, but we haven't really gotten to talk about him. Can you tell me about your guys' relationship?
Wilbur's face broke into a smile unwillingly, fragile and hopeful. Tommy's my little brother. He couldn't help but beam, voice heavy with pride. I practically raised that kid. I'd walk to his daycare after class and pick him up, take him home and feed him and entertain him. I taught him how to tie his shoes, read to him, sing him lullabies when Dad came home late from work. I was his best friend, and he was mine. It was more than that. He was Tommy's entire world, and Tommy was his entire universe. Every spare thought was consumed by his little brother, wondering if he could get the kid to eat his veggies today, if the 5-year-old would like the new song he'd learned on guitar, if there was any way to sneak him out of the house to go to the OC fair while Phil was out of the house. When he needed to sleep and he needed to bathe, what Tommy thought of him, Tommy had been everything to Wilbur. And he knew, deep down, that he had been everything to his brother too, once. That he had been the one to comfort him after nightmares and gift him memories like their mother, like trinkets upon a bedside table. Wilbur had pulled his first tooth, taught him his maths, and helped him change his clothes every day until he was old enough to do it himself. No child was fit to raise another. He knew that now. But at the time, this fact had been buried underneath so many nights of changing diapers and packing lunches that Wilbur had truly believed he was the only one who could properly take care of Tommy. Apart from him, still believed that the blonde-haired boy in California was still his.
This is you.
Oh, yes. You said he was your best friend? What changed?
Oh, what had changed? It was slow, that was for sure. Wilbur had already spent half of his life taking care of a baby brother no one asked for. That had just been unexpected as his mother's death. And it was all really a matter of time before it all blew up in their faces. There had been so many years of missed sleepovers and birthday parties because Tommy was alone at home and couldn't fend for himself, and Wilbur was the only one there. Of harsh words whispered in hallways when the toddler was asleep and the night had fell. By the time he was 16, Wilbur had thoroughly burned out having to take care of his little brother, and he resented the kid for stealing away his adolescence. So Wilbur spiraled. He smoked, he skipped. He did all of that.
What?
He did all that.
What?
Mads,
Your mic changed. Mads?
your mic changed all of a sudden.
Matt.
Wanted him
Mads.
wanted him
Mads,
to understand
Mads,
what a man had
Mads,
produced.
Mads.
Finally
Mads,
gave his family a good reason
Mads,
as why they labeled him a villain.
Mads.
So he pushed away his younger brother, his little brother. Because without
Your
Tommy, he was nothing. As nothing, he would be able to finally free himself. He would be finally free to himself. And when Phil went
Mads,
he packed up his bags
Mads,
and Wilbur smiled.
Mads,
A broken little thing. He opened his
Mads.
Yes, my headphones, they are broken.
Oh no.
Can you
They are
hear
dead.
us? Can you hear us?
I cannot hear you.
Oh god.
I'm sorry.
Oh god, wait, can you hear us?
I think should I just finish the chapter?
Yeah, can you
I
go
was just gonna finish it.
go back a
I am
paragraph
completely...
and read
I don't know what you say. Go back a paragraph and read the rest. So go back to... Oh yeah, because it switched my mic. Oh, that makes sense.
Because I was like, there's like a weird skip, and then everything like changed. Now everything sounds different.
My mic is connected to my theme. I'm dumb. Okay.
What happened?
So it was low. Sorry.
Wait, I need to open this screen.
I'd have to run up all the way upstairs to get my headphone jack.
Wait, so what's going on?
Mads can't hear us, but
Like what happened to
Okay.
I assume they were wireless and they were
Oh yeah, they died.
So I'm just gonna start from it was slow, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was slow. That was for sure. Wilbur had already spent half of his life taking care of a baby brother no one had asked for.
Everything is okay.
That had just been as unexpected as his mother's death, and it was really a matter of time before it blew up in their faces. There had been so many years of missed sleepovers and birthday parties, because Tommy was alone at home and couldn't fend for
I mean,
himself,
maybe.
and Wilbur was the
There's a bigger
only
delay.
one there.
They can get
Harsh words whispered
later.
in hallways when the toddler was asleep and night had fell. By the time he was 16, Wilbur had thoroughly burned out from having to take care of his little brother.
Can we hear Matt?
And he had resented the kid for stealing away
Matt.
his adolescence.
Okay. We're talking over Matt.
So Wilbur spiraled. He smoked, he skipped class, he drank. He did all of that came with the Teenage Rebellion Handbook. He wanted Phil to know he was hurting. Wanted him to understand what the man had reduced him to finally give his family a good reason for why they labeled him a villain. So he pushed away his little brother. Because without Tommy, he was nothing. And as nothing, he would finally be free to self-destruct. And when Phil wouldn't let him, he packed his bags and went to London. Wilbur smiled. A broken little thing, and opened his mouth. Pristine. Tommy would call it one day. In a car with the radio silent and windows rolled up, unspoiled, perfect, spotless. The truth had remained intact, preserved in its sterility, as if doused in alcohol, and no warping of Wilbur's mind or Tommy's poems could alter it. Wilbur had escaped that house and its inhabitants, took one look at the world that waited for him beyond the weathered porch, and left. Tommy had stayed, too young to do more than watch this universe implode into dazed stars. He sided with a father who was unable to move past his grief, an empty house of only memories and echoes, and grew up to be just like him. And for that, Wilbur would never forgive himself. I left. Wilbur guessed. Tommy was right. Pristine. It was perfect. It really was.
Hi.
Okay, I'm gonna go get my headphone jack.
Okay.
1 second.
I like how we said okay, like they can.
Yeah. It's like, he's like, and this time he uses pristine as like a self-deprecating thing. Yeah. He's like, oh, it was just perfect. Like,
it was wonderful.
Like, oh, this totally doesn't hurt me a lot. Also, it's like,
it was like a knife to the stomach.
Yeah. Yeah, also he like he viewed himself as a bad person, and then to see Tommy like go down a similar path, he's like, oh, it's all bad, and then all this shit. I'm also it's like it's kind of like he left the town pristine, as if like when he left he was so done with everything he couldn't comprehend the reality that time would move on without him, even if he wasn't there. Like, if he wasn't at the house, that doesn't mean that everything would be fine and stay as it was. Because it clearly changed, and he didn't think it changed, but it did. And he's like, oh wait, it's not pristine. You know?
Yeah.
What are you gonna say?
How is it clear how the mom died?
She died in childbirth.
I feel like I mentally skipped over that.
Yeah. They don't explicitly say it, but they heavily imply it. Yeah, they heavily imply that she died in childbirth. That's why Tommy feels directly guilty, and why they are very linked to each other. So. Yeah.
It was kind of funny, though, how in this Technoblade is his real name.
Yeah. It's Technoblade, because it's the, I love that. I didn't notice it when I first read, but, like, having Phil named Techno after, like, an old friend of his, there are What were you gonna say?
He named Techno after Techno.
I can't. What?
Yeah, he named Techno after Techno.
After the actual Techno.
Because it's like...
Also, hi, Mads.
Hi, Mads.
Oh, no.
Hi, I can hear you.
It's how we can...
Mads can't hear us.
Uh-oh.
But in some interpretations of Techno in certain fics, like, some of them interpret him as just being, like, Will's best friend, you know, instead of having be in the family dynamic. And part of that is attributed to Techno rejecting the family dynamic, especially specifically in the Dream SMP, because his character does certain actions that he would not condone somebody doing to their family members. And, like, he's like, my character wouldn't do that to their family, so they're not family to him in that. But him and Phil are, like, good friends that have been friends for a very long time.
So it's
he named Techno after Techno.
Yeah. It's like it's supposed to be the same person, but it's different.
Yeah. People. It's great.
I am back.
Hi.
And I can hear you now.
You can hear me.
Hello.
Yay! We just talked about some stuff.
Yay.
We talked about
Fun.
the pristine word again, and then we also talked about how
Mhm.
in this fic, Techno is named after Techno.
Yeah.
Different
Oh,
person,
He's a-
but not.
He's kind of
Yeah.
named after Antarctic techno, really.
Yeah.
What?
Antarctic Techno. There's, to continue with it, also a lot of people's interpretations of like the Phil and Techno being like old friends from a long time ago comes from
Mhm.
the Earth SMP. Was it called the Earth SMP? SMP Earth. It came from SMP
SMP,
Earth.
yeah.
Which didn't last very long, but it was run by Wilbur, and in that, him and Phil were both running the Antarctic Empire,
Mm-hmm.
and they conquered the world by land claiming the entire planet, and that was hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like Undertale where there's
It
like
was
so
very
many
good.
EUs.
Yeah, it is.
Sort of.
But not the same. It's not the same way, but yeah.
Not as bad. Definitely not as
Yeah.
bad, but
Yeah.
And it's not the fandom that's making it up. It's the creators themselves, really.
Yeah.
yes.
So some people like to think of it as like that, either as inspiration or like directly headcanoning it as part of it. So, yeah.
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 Woo.
Woo.
I'm doing like a Wilbur set right now, because I have, since my headphones didn't work, I had brought my earbuds down with me.
Yeah.
So I just have like one earbud in.
That's great.
Nice.
I love
I'm
it.
doing a Wilbur set.
Yeah, this is a Wilbur set. Yeah, you also got to kiss the microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give it a little kiss.
Can I
Give it a
just,
kissy.
Little
can
kissy.
I just say,
What?
I really like this last part where Wilbur is talking about it, because you can really see that like Wilbur and Tommy have two very different they have two very different views of what happened,
Yeah.
because again they're two different people and they're two different ages. So of course Tommy probably doesn't remember when he was like a little kid and Wilbur was taking care of him and like singing him lullabies and stuff. Like most of what Tommy remembers is Wilbur being the moody teenagers that hated him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because
And that, like,
he wasn't able to remember the early days very well.
yeah.
That just makes it more sad because it's like it's Wilbur.
Yeah.
Pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, it's like, they both were definitely neglected, but it was in slightly different ways. Because, like, Wilbur was, like, he was given way too much responsibility at such an early age. And then, like, so he would want to get rid of that responsibility as soon as possible, because it's, like, he shouldn't have had that responsibility, and it was definitely wearing him down.
Yeah.
But, like, Tommy's was,
'Cause,
like...
I mean,
yeah.
he even says it in the little paragraph that was ever fit to raise another.
Yeah. Yeah, he was clearly compassionate about it, though. Like, he tried his best.
Yeah.
And then Tommy's story was just everything seemed kind of perfect, but it all just fell apart, and it seemed like it was his fault.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
Yeah.
it like, it wasn't. None of it was his fault. You know, it was more like circumstances. Yeah. But it makes sense why he would feel that way, because especially since like Wilbur even blamed him at one point, even though it wasn't his fault, because he had been put responsible for him. So yeah, it's like a whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's interesting to see the different POVs of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, I love the therapist. So just a random character. It's as far as I know. It's not a reference to anything that I know of.
Yeah.
But I love it so much.
I don't know.
I heard Evelyn and I immediately thought of Leo.
Yeah, it might be like a reference to something the author knows about, but like we just don't.
It's Evelyn's the.
Evelyn, why are you going? Why don't you?
Yeah.
The therapist is a demon.
Oh no. Okay. The poem Tommy quotes to Wilbur is Pristine by Hilda Raz and is absolutely gorgeous. I totally check it out. Yeah. It's very good.
My family watched me typing like a
Maniac for 10 plus hours.
You need to drink some water.
You want some water, buddy? Me having wrote 12k words of 2 different chapters about Minecraft in the span of 1 day post wisdom teeth removal after ignoring packing, setting up my class schedule, or competing an actual poetry assignment, and also writing 3k words for a chapter that doesn't exist yet.
From I thought somebody help me.
That is such crackhead energy.
So something that you would do.
We love that. We love that.
Be like, somebody sedate me. I need to sleep.
Yeah, I would never have enough energy to do that, but
No.
I would say that.
I would have been something you would say.
Yeah.
You wouldn't actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
You want a gummy?
I'm good.
Okay.
But yeah, this is, I love it's hilarious. It's crackhead energy. A poem has finally been revealed. Yes, and it's a very good one. Whoa, we love it.
We love the poem.
We love it. I wish I could do it more
We love
justice. Honestly, writing a Persona poem group piece from the POV of 2 fictional characters was one of the most difficult poems I have ever written. So I'm exhausted. Well, you did very good and I'm proud of you. Also, I hope this is not the worst poem ever written, but only time can tell. Hopefully the performance is at least readable. It's readable. It sure is. It's also performable, but like you'd have to practice it. I might publish a chapter with the poems in print so you can read them all the way through without Tommy's inner monologue. I think they actually have done that already. I might be wrong about that though. Yeah, I think they have like a poem book.
Oh.
Yeah, like if we...
I don't know.
Like if we scroll...
Maybe.
If we go to the author... see, Ars Poetica collected poems.
Ah.
Yeah, so they have an archive of it if you want to just go straight to it without all the other shit. So yeah.
That's
Rats must read.
Rats must read. Rats must read.
Oh, you know what you could totally do? If you were like, I think if you were like, reading it for like a really like fancy video, like you know that video that someone did on Pastorin, where they were just like reading it like an audiobook basically. You could definitely have a thing where you like pre-read the whole poem just by itself, and then you just splice in those voice lines with the actual reading of the story.
Yeah. Wait, who did a reading of Password? I'm not surprised, but like, who?
I don't know. It was someone on YouTube. I can't remember the name, but if you just look up like Passerin read through or something.
Damn. I wanted to do
and they have like the full.
Isn't Passerin...
I mean, you could still do it.
Yeah, we could still do it.
Is Passerin the one that? Oh, it's the one that you were telling me about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I that one sounds actually
and
really cool.
Honestly, if you really want to, we could read the
I would want to read
the lesser known sequel.
I would want to read the sequel as well, 100%. The prequel, yes. I guess. I would want to read the prequel 100% as well.
I would also like to.
Honestly, it's so good.
Yeah. We should probably read it anyways, just because like we might as well.
Might as well. It seems fun. It seems good.
Yeah. It's important, and also we would want to read the sequel, which I don't think people have done a reading of yet. So
we better get to it fast,
or at least less people.
Yeah.
Yumi.
Well, there we go. Oh, I forgot to live for kudos.
Do you want to do another chapter today, or do you not?
I'm good for that one if you are.
How long is the next one?
I think this one's a little shorter because it's just a Puffy and then a Rambo POV.
Yeah.
Is that Puffy?
But it might still be a little bit long.
Puffy in the fic is the captain of the poetry group.
No, I meant who read it for Puffy.
Oh, right. I read for Puffy. Oh. You read for Rambo though.
Oh yeah, I read for Rambo and what's that one person's name?
The therapist.
No,
and also,
the therapist and
Fuck, I can't remember.
the one that came out.
Oh, Ponk.
Yes.
Yes. I guess we could read chapter 8 then, since it's a bit shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're leaving chapter 9 for another day. And I may
Yeah.
I may leave
Dickman. Sorry.
Dickman.
Sorry.
I may leave I may wait for chapter 9 a bit before reading it, just because I want to see if maybe
Let it simmer.
Yeah, well, let it simmer. Let it simmer. Also, maybe see if the 10th chapter might come out, because I could read them together. It might not happen, but at least I want to wait a bit. Yeah. So we'll probably have a break. Yeah. We'll probably have a break from this fic after this, for a short bit, and then come back to it later.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yes.
Are we gonna be doing like something else between the break of it, or just like break in general? Okay.
Yeah, a break with something else in between there.
I would like to join.
Yes. Yes, of course.
Yes.
I was like, I didn't want to invite
myself. The only way to run through the neighborhood was to run through it together. Oh, that's cute. Title from Teenage Riot.
I still can't get over that it's by Matthew Dickman.
Yeah, it's Matthew Dickman.
Dickman.
Don't you know?
Don't you know the Dickman?
Yeah. First, I should really apologize for taking so long in the update. What? You said my fucking name.
What?
Did you say my
name?
I
said that guy.
Oh, I thought you said that.
I heard Rebecca.
I was like, what?
I was like, huh?
I don't know how you heard that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I heard Becca. I should really apologize for taking so long to update. College has been a whirlwind. Some good, some bad. All new and terrifying. I had writer's block for so long, I tried to figure out how to do this chapter. Nice. So I don't want to plague you with an array of life updates. I'll save that for the end notes in case you're curious. Yay, we love the series of authors going through a terrible time yet still writing their fics. It's great.
Very funny, very funny.
Yep. Again, thank you so much. Last but not least, reminder that this fic is about characters and not related to the content creators. This chapter gets a bit heavy, so I just wanted to put that out there.
A bit heavy? Did you read the last one?
Yeah. Main warnings, oof. Ooh.
Warnings are getting worse and worse as time goes on.
Yeah, and it just keeps getting worse. The warnings just keep getting worse.
It just keeps getting.
It's darker out from
these
here.
characters are not having a good time.
They're not having a good time. Chapter wordings, in case you want to skip out of this one. Main wordings: implied suicide attempt, memory loss from trauma, internalized ableism, and ableistic rhetoric.
I have a question.
Yes.
What's ableism?
It's the, it's like, fuck. It's not a fear of. It's like somebody being homophobic or transphobic, except it's for people who are disabled.
Yeah. Or racist.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So
it's basically, it's discrimination against people with disabilities.
Yes, there we go. That's what ableism is.
Yes.
Divorce. And reckless, dangerous driving. Please stay safe. Please stay safe. These next 3 chapters are going to be a bit more rough. Man, I wonder why.
No drinking and driving, please.
No drinking and driving. Please stay safe. Please stay safe.
Please stay safe.
Please stay safe.
Please stay safe. Please stay safe.
Please stay safe. Smile.
Smile. Since this is Puffy POV, should I just read it?
I can't want to be like, I'm Puffy.
Yeah, if you guys want to step in or switch off at any point, you can intervene.
Yeah, I definitely want to narrate soon.
Yeah. There's a Rambo POV coming right here. There's a Rambo POV.
Oh, nice. I would like to narrate a little bit before.
Yeah, a bit before that. Yeah. Puffy was worried. Of course, she was always fretting over something. As designated slam mom and captain of their little crew, she was always keeping an eye on her teammates, texting Ponk to see if they had gone home okay or needed a ride, calling Foolish to remind him to turn off the stove before he left for practice, checking up on their youngest member to make sure he was comfortable at practice, and just being there for Dream. And so many of her waking hours were spent worrying over the multiple people in her life who jokingly called her Mama Puffy. making checklist upon checklist to ensure she was doing her best by those she cared for. Sure, sometimes it was overwhelming having so many people depend on you. Sometimes, late at night, when she pulled down the blinds to her windows and shut her door, she would heave panicked, hurried breaths, trying to get in enough air to tell herself that she did it, that they are okay, it's all okay. But she still loved it more than she'd be willing to admit. There was something in her that hummed in satisfaction each time she could help her teammates with something and see nothing but a smile in return, bright and crooked in its sincerity. She loved seeing her teammates smile, loved seeing them laugh and joke and shout hyperbole at one another, and just revel in what life had to offer. More than anything, she loved making her poets happy. That's it. Also, I loved it. I'm slowly getting like some of the authors' like writing quirks. One of them, I love this one, which is specifically and sometimes late at night, and then insert oddly specific thing about this person's trauma in parentheses. That's happened like 3 times, and it's great.
This is great.
I love it. Non-sarcastically, it's great. So yes, when Puffy called Dream at 2 a.m. rambling that Tommy had suddenly, when Puffy had called Dream at 2 a.m. rambling that Tommy had suddenly pulled out of the slam, thanking her for a good run and declining all of her calls, she had understandably been on the edge of hysterics. At first she thought she was just overreacting. Tommy was fine. He probably just got cold feet after his first open mic. It would all be better in the morning, she assured herself, towing the line that led to plummeting into a downward spiral. No. Jimmy just looked at me and said no. She had teetered over the edge as soon as June told her what had happened at the open mic. Puffy was not an irrational person. She knew that sometimes poets, especially new poets, like Tommy... I'm gonna
smack you.
got stage fright, and that one bad experience could set them back in months in terms of building confidence to perform. But this wasn't just a bad experience for the kid or a hiccup, because according to Dream, Tommy's performance had been more than good. It had been stunning. He's a natural at this shit, he praised over the phone, voice tiny with awe and telephone wires. You should have seen him up there. It was his first group piece, and he perfectly matched my energy without hesitating. The chemistry was amazing, and even when he stumbled, you couldn't even tell. He was perfect. Neither had to mention that this was very high praise for Dream, who infamously hated most group performances because they just didn't go with they just don't get how to flow together. They're not collaborating the piece, and he was judgmental at best and snobby at worst when it came to poetry. It wasn't that he didn't respect his fellow artists. He was just very stingy on how far he was willing to let that respect extend. And when Tommy had first been put on the team, taking the place of Dream's close friend Quackity, who had left the team after a fallout with his boyfriends.
Anyways. Single tear.
The polyamory never wins.
Uh-oh.
No.
Don't make me cry. It's real in my heart.
It's real.
Well, it's alive and well in my heart.
Yep. Well, Dream had made it very clear that he wasn't going to go easy on the kid. Because even if he excelled at the challenge Dream had offered, it was what happened after the open mic that had Puffy's heart shriveling in panic. He dragged him out of there? What do you mean? And you didn't do anything? Puffy knew her voice was shrill, knew from the frustrated sigh on the other side of the phone that she was blaming the wrong person, but she was fraying at the edges. Was he hurt? Did you know for sure that it was his brother? It could have been a random stranger or a kidnapper? Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Puffs, dude, chill. His brother is yeah, but he wasn't kidnapped, that's for sure.
And she could tell by how Dream's voice dipped an octave, warm and malleable like sun-dried sand underfoot, that he was trying not to panic, too. That he was trying to hold it together for her. She felt her stomach roll.
He hadn't responded to any of my Insta DMs, which, yeah, it was kind of bad sign, but last night was rough. He was probably just trying to process or something. Don't read too much into this, please.
Please, Dream had said, and Puffy felt like her world might be ending. Because Dream never asked for anything, never begged, but all it took was the aftermath of a nighttime slam. Please, he had said, as if the very thought of something happening to Tommy would shatter him. please, because even though they'd only known Tommy for about 2 months, he becomes such an integral part of the team that without him, it would all fall to pieces. He was the glue that kept them together, the one to banter with Ponk and get the poet's nervous energy out, the one that could keep up with Foolish's wax poetic juxtapost with his boggling misunderstandings of everything that wasn't intellectualized. The one who could challenge Dream and not falter under his critical stare. And he was the only one who could bring out the chaotic side of Puffy during practice and get away with it. But more than that, he was the baby. Puffy had to stop herself from awing at the boy multiple times during practice, heart melting with every excited squeal he made when Foolish brought cookies from Kanoka's to practice, wanting to coo every time he gave a nervous smile, flickering and so small as he read the newest draft of his poem aloud. Sure, he was 17 years old and mature for his age, sometimes to the point that Puffy worried, because what 17-year-old had that look in his eye? But they all felt protective over their youngest poet, Dream especially. I feel connected to him, like we're two sides of the same coin, like we're buzzing on a frequency no one else can channel, he had said once, sitting on Puffy's couch and pretending to watch Pride and Prejudice, though by the misty gleam in his eyes she had been able to tell he wasn't too concerned with Elizabeth Bennet on the screen. Not even that, I'm not sure, he feels familiar. And she knew that he had meant like family, like a little brother. Wow, it's replacing Wilbur. He's replacing Wilbur.
Maybe that's for the best.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Dream was a very private man, always hiding his true feelings behind unimpressed glares and wry commentary. But he was so very, very fragile, just like the rest of them. It had taken years for Dream to open up to Puffy for her to coax his life story out of him. Years of reading in between the lines of poetry and half-assed jokes alike. But when he finally bore his soul to her, he had hatched onto her as if a duckling imprinting upon his mother. And so he was just that. Her duckling. Her hatchling. The boy turned man too fast, who couldn't stand the sight of bottle caps or broken glass. The poet who treated his friends as if they were each a work of art, who cradled each person he loved so close to his chest she thought he'd suffocate. Who taught himself to leap from rooftop to rooftop because he liked the feeling of splitting wind, because he liked heights, so much so that she was afraid one day it would ruin him. The boy who would become her little brother. He was her duckling, and she was his. And if you were Dream's, he would never let you go. So Dream said, please. And Puffy began to unravel. Because if Tommy was hurt, if that had happened to him, Dream would be unable to recover. Tommy had become Dream's, and so the man would tear apart the earth for him, and all Tommy would have to do was ask. We're going to find him, she found herself saying, phone sandwiched between her shoulder and cheek, hands busy with laundry. She huffed as she lifted her load into the dryer. And I'm going to talk some goddamn sense into that kid. There's no way he's pulling out of the slam because of his asshole of a brother. There's no way I'm letting that man ruin this for him. No way. There was a muffled sound of someone cursing on the other side of the phone. A sharp, George, and a swatted hand making contact with someone's arm. Dream sighed.
Puffy, I think we have to wait him out on this one. He's obviously processing shit, and I don't think us barging in there and yelling at him for pulling out of this is going to be the best thing for him. I think we just need to let him come to us.
But he needs us, Dream, she pressed, setting the basket of laundry down to clutch the phone in her hands. She tried to pretend that they weren't shaking, that she wasn't on the precipice of breaking down. Get it together, she wanted to scream at herself. You're Captain, you're Mama Puffy, you have to be strong. She grunted, slamming the dryer door closed and putting her head in her hands. On the other side of the phone, Dream hummed in sympathy. I can't leave him alone during this.
He can handle it,
Dream argued, but she could hear the fight puttering out from him in the way his voice cracked. He cleared his throat.
He's stronger than you think, Puffs. Trust me. That kid will figure it out on his own.
Puffy paused, parsing Dream's words as she ran her tongue along her teeth. Dream may be a private man, but he wasn't that complicated once you figured him out. It didn't take a detective to see the similarities between the two poets. She knew Dream saw it too. Dream knew it in the way he'd placed an elbow on the boy's shoulder, cautious and uncharacteristically gentle, like he understood the boy would spook if he got too close. How he was simultaneously unafraid to push, to pick at the invisible scars that littered Tommy's words and entire self, always knowing what buttons to press to get the kid raw and vulnerable. Dream fuck you. Dream understood Tommy in a way that no one on the team could even hope to achieve. Understood the pieces too close to fracturing and bruises hidden beneath metaphor and simile. They were one and the same. So when Dream said, that kid will figure it out on his own, what he was afraid to tell her was, he and I have both seen through to the end of worse. I have sat with his load alone before, and I have cried, but I have survived. If nothing else, Tommy will survive. Even after all these years, nights spent holding together a body rattling with sobs and wiping away bloody noses and split lips, Dream would still forget there was more to life than just surviving. He had spent so long running, leaping from rooftops of buildings he refused to call home, splitting oxygen into sharp gasps, that he forgot what it meant to breathe, deep and slow. And she didn't know if Tommy knew anything other than survival, than trying to stop your hands from shaking and keep your heart beating until the next day. If he did, then it had been long enough since he truly breathed that his lungs had all but withered away. One frequency. She could not but agree now, fingers massaging her temples where her baby hairs frizzed. Two waves of energy clashing upon each other like waves breaking in the harbor. And it was terrifying. It was watching a ship unable to dock as a storm brewed overhead, and she was afraid of what would happen when it would all sink. Her boys couldn't handle it. Her boys couldn't handle that. She couldn't handle that.
What? I just mentioned before, Puffin uses ship metaphors.
I know, I was thinking that same thing.
Metaphors.
I was like, the boat metaphors.
Does that mean something?
She's Captain Puffy, and in the DSMP,
a sailor sense.
Yeah, she's a sailor.
Pirate.
Like, a pirate captain.
Oh, nice.
Like, yeah. So it's like, boat metaphors.
Boat,
makes a lot of sense.
Boat.
You are a pirate.
Yo ho, yo.
Yar, feel dee.
Being a pirate is me.
Do it one cause a pirate is free.
You are a pirate. She straightened her spine, hand falling away from her face as she stared at the blank wall above her washing machine, lips twisted into a frown. She took a deep breath, and then she released it. I'm not going to wait, because he can't. He shouldn't have to be alone, she finally said, grip deadly around her phone, knuckles yellowing into white. And neither should you. It's okay to worry, you know, because we'll figure it out. We'll talk to him, and we'll help. Because even if Dream was in denial, even if he was still afraid of admitting that it was okay to expect more out of life, to want at all, she would be there to give him everything he couldn't ask for. Even if he was still that 16-year-old sitting behind Kaneko's trash can one night, with a bruised eye and unflinching glare, who stood, 17, and bewitched at the sight of a poet speaking magic into a microphone. She would be there for him. She would be there as she always was, a mama barely old enough to call herself grown, and her duckling, them against the world. She was his, and he was hers. And now, Tommy was theirs.
Adoptive mother.
Yeah, family dynamics.
Oh.
And she would be down.
Chosen family.
Chosen family. Found family.
Found family.
And she would be down if she let anything happen to her crew. Her crew, because she's a pirate. It's another one. Nodders. She blinked. Hey, Dream, I think I'm gonna have to call you back. I have to ask someone to do me a favor. Dream gave an inquisitive sound over the phone, trilling with poorly concealed anxiety.
Oh, okay, yeah, for sure. That's fine. Who are you calling?
Puffy turned from the blank wall, opening the door to her laundry room and entering the pleasant coolness of her empty kitchen. She inhaled the sharp air, shoulders lowering as she allowed herself to tilt her head back. A friend. Hey, do you know if Ponk's at her weekly date night?
They shouldn't be. I think they were trying to get rest before practice tomorrow. Why?
There was a rustling on the other side of the phone, as if Dream was looking up something. Or looking for something. As if Dream was looking for something. Just hoping he wouldn't be too mad at me when I steal his boyfriend for the night. Buffy said, voice hushed with the beginning prickliness of adrenaline, already heading for her closet to grab a coat. She glanced down at her socked feet, pondering whether or not it was worth the change out of her PJs. Only one person knows Tommy's address, after all.
What are you planning, Puffs?
Buffy fought a small, hopeful smile threatening to turn her lips. Buffy was not an irrational person. She was not a passive one, either. If she was going to be the captain of this team, if she truly was going to be the one at the helm in the face of every storm and almost shipwreck, then she would take her own advice and breathe. She had to live for something, and had to breathe for something, and this time, her breath would be dedicated to Tommy. And sure, maybe that little smile of hers was just a bit devious, just a little bit too sharp. What was a captain, if not one for being just as daring as her crew? What are your thoughts on taking a late night drive, Duckling?
Duckling.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the Duckling thing is also a reference to the Dream SMP.
Oh, I had a feeling.
Yeah, it's the
Your profile picture.
profile picture. Technically, Puffy is like Dream's mom in it, because it's like
Well, actually,
kind
that's the thing, is that Puffy was like, no,
yeah,
no.
yeah. It's more like a family dynamic thing than canon.
It's non-canon compliant.
Yep. But because there was like a one of her dream just like followed her around for a long time, and she eventually started calling him her Duckling, and it was cute.
Lamau.
And everybody was like, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
everybody is,
Oh,
baby, oh."
oh, gosh.
Yeah,
Oh, gosh.
I love Puffy. She's just like, I love all my people, and I want nothing bad to happen to them. And also, she's like, devious smile, devious smile, devious smile.
Yeah. Honestly, I think this is a very good thing, because they were just gonna let it go and just like move on and be like, oh, Tommy will come back. But like, Puffy realizing that this is just feeding into like this spiral that Tommy's probably having, and then doing something about it.
Yeah.
That's so relieving, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also realizing that it's also connected to Dream's general spiraling as well. So she doesn't want to let either of them down.
Yeah.
It's great. We love Puffy. We stand Puffy.
Queen.
We stand Puffy.
Queen.
We stand a queen.
Oh, this
We
is
stand our captain.
yeah. We stand our captain.
07.
07. Yep. 07. This is you, Dravy. If you need somebody to step in at any point,
No, I was
Just
about
ask.
to, I was actually about to ask if I could.
no, this is your part.
Okay. Yay.
This is a Rambo POV.
Yeah, this is a Rambo POV. So,
I really Rambo because we have similarities.
Nice.
It's Rambo, right? You want to say Rambo?
Rambo.
Rambo.
Yes.
Okay. Rambo forgot many things, but they couldn't forget the first time they saw Tommy cry. They had moved down from NorCal
North California.
on the whim of their father post-divorce. A messy, complicated affair, with too many tears to count and yelling and rattling door frames. And within a few months, Rambo's entire life, his friends, family, everything he had known was seemingly plucked from the ground and transposed into a completely different world. Even though it was still California, SoCal was different in the not-so-subtle ways. How the sun shined relentlessly, searing the back of their neck, and how the wind suddenly went sour and warm, roaring through the streets and turning over lawn chairs and trash cans and sending the front door shuddering. And he wanted to hide, then wanted to shout out to their father and curse and spit curses because how dare he move Rambo from I didn't breathe from all they had known. How there were seemingly rules to jaywalking. It was different in all the ways that muttered. Rambo hated it. Hated that they couldn't wear half of their sweaters until mid-November. That their new high school was just clusters of metal portables, like shipping containers in a grass field. That they knew absolutely no one.
Oh God, he's in one of those really shitty high schools. Oh
Yeah.
no, I didn't realize.
They all are.
They all are.
They all go to the same high school.
I didn't realize that they were in this shitty high school. I completely skimmed over that line when I was first reading, and I was like,
With
oh.
porta potties.
Yeah.
Not-
Those
not-
are porta potties.
No, it's not
Portables.
porta potties, but it's like, I went to a school that had some of those before, but there was also, like, a main building, so I was kind of lucky. But it's, like, it's the very shitty schools where they have, like, these little portable classroom thingies and, like, the stairs leading up to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
It said portables. My immediate thought was like porta potty, and I was like, "What the hell? What the fuck?" I'm like, huh? The fuck? Okay.
Yeah. And, like, it makes me think of, like, a conversation Tubbo has had about his school. Like, his school is just so bad. I'm like, God, he deserves justice. I just want better things for him in life.
In this or in the
IRL Tubbo.
pain.
His school is so bad.
Oh God.
But yeah, so yeah.
Oh, fuck.
That gives me new context. Oh God. This is so bad.
Ew.
Okay, anyways, continue from here.
So they forced themselves to plug in their earbuds and close their eyes on the car rides to school, blocking out this new town with its cracked sidewalks and glaring sunlight and dry winds. I'm gonna burp. Oh, okay, sorry. Sunlight and dry winds with the tumbling chords of their music. He tried to pretend the teething heat on his face, the soft palms of his mother, brushing away stray eyelashes in a wish for a good day before she sent him off to kindergarten. And that the incessant. Okay, that's what incessant. Yeah. Squeaking of brakes as cars stopped on the freeway was the pitchy laughter of his aunt after dinner with too many glasses of wine. Yet every time the car lulled to the stop and his father pulled to the curb, a soft, apologetic murmur of "We're here, bud," every time he killed the engine, Rambu was brought back to reality. Mom was not here. Neither was his aunt. Here, all that remained were a few tin can buildings and a lonely lunch table. They didn't turn off their music as they got out the car. Rambu continued this way for probably the first 4 weeks until Tubbo had come crashing into their life. Tubbo, with his shaggy brown hair and penchant for foul language that he would later learn was nothing compared to a certain blonde's potty mouth, who made zoo animals and ninja stars out of twisted paper clips, babbled about the rate of decay of different elements. Tubbo had seen them lurking outside the school cafeteria, made a quip about their Mario Kart keychain. That's really cute. Yeah. And had never looked back because of Tubbo. With his fire bright eyes and even warmer smile, Rambo had begun to heal. Rambo had been able to begin to heal. It was nice. That first lunch, they had swapped stories and jokes alike, sprinkling tidbits of their past into mundane chatter as the lunch hour went by. Rambu learned that Tubbo lived 14 minutes from school with his mom and dad. Only children unite. He had cheered, face flushed with laughter, that he'd once taught himself to juggle because his father bet him he couldn't, and that he had dyslexia and used to go to speech therapy classes for a stutter. This is so mean.
This is Tubbo, so
it's kind of ironic because Tommy in real life is the only child in the bench trio.
Yeah, IRL Tubbo has like 4 siblings.
And then Rambo does have siblings because he constantly calls Tommy a only child with that kind of venom that you only get if you're a sibling.
Oh.
He's never talked about his other siblings though. Like as far as I know, he might have, and I just missed the stream. But like, we don't know shit.
He doesn't talk about it, but he's like, yeah.
Maybe it's best not to.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why.
But yeah, so it's very funny.
Yeah.
You're Tubbo, Mads.
Oh, I'm Tubbo?
Yeah, you're Tubbo.
Oh, I forgot.
I generally don't remember Tubbo.
Okay. Where were we? Okay. They honestly thought I was illiterate growing up.
He shrugged, voice too casual to be indifferent.
They were convinced I couldn't read for like 4 years of elementary school. Let me up a bit, I guess.
And Rambo hadn't known what to say to that. How to fathom a reasonable response to an insecurity being exposed so indelicately. So he didn't say anything reasonable. In fact, what ended up tumbling out of his mouth was...
That's Rambo.
My parents just got divorced because my aunt's an alcoholic and I hate my dad. Tobo had stared at him Tobo had stared at him in silence.
Yeah.
Then
I wasn't.
laughter.
Yeah, I wasn't laughing at the grammar error. I was laughing because of the things happening in the fic. By the way.
Oh my god.
Tobo had breathed through his giggles, wiping at his eyes as they watered.
Man, oh my god, that's...
I panicked. Rambo had squeaked, but his shoulders still shook with the laughter threatening to overtake them. Listen, it was a very high-stress environment.
Your aunt? What does that have to do with anything?
It's complicated. Interpersonal relationships are very delicate things, and those outside our immediate sphere.
Nope, big words. No, thank you. Let's go back to talking about why Wizards 101 is the superior MMORPG.
This is relatable content.
Yeah.
I remember reading that and I was like, this relatable. It's the thing. It's, oh my god. Relatable.
Wizards 101 is the shit. Wizards 101 is great.
We appreciate Wizard 101 in this house.
Yes. I still remember you being like, that's how I learned that you really like fishing.
I love fishing in video games. I appreciate it. I almost never do it, but I appreciate it greatly.
You're like, I love it. I'm not going to do it, but I love it.
Anyways, continue.
And so they had meaningless conversations, pinging across the metal lunch table, words flying and hands...
Gesticulating.
What the hell? Yeah.
Gesticulating.
Gesticulating.
Yes.
I'm having a hard time.
It's okay, you don't have to say it.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's a fucking hard word.
As they grew closer and closer with each joke flitting by, each burst of laughter, each exaggerated insult, Rambu learned that Toba was a sharp-minded future astrophysicist with an even sharper tongue. Tobo learned that Rambu was a model UN kid that could talk themselves into circles and out of any argument. And so it was nice. This mutual exchange of poorly timed laughter and half-finished sentences. It was perfect. And for once, Rambu thought they had gotten it all figured out. And then Tommy had showed up. Is that because it has the... Is that Tommy talking? Or?
No, it's still narrating.
Okay, because it has the... Okay.
Yeah.
Tommy, all braces and crooked smiles and explosive laughter. All dirty humor and sleeping in class, and referrals to the principal's office. When they first met at the lunch table, the teen's chin propped on his hand as he methodically clicked a red inked pen, blue eyes flashing like torrents surging across highways. Ranbu had thought Tommy could ruin them all if he wished. Sometimes, if he still thought the boy could. In the beginning, Tommy had hated Rambu. Rambu knew because of the sheer amount of times the blonde had said during sophomore year, within the first week of being introduced to Tommy. The blonde had called them so many crude names that he had quickly run out of vulgar words to insult the newest transfer to their school. Still, Ranbu hadn't minded regardless of Tubble's countless exasperated apologies upon Tommy's behalf. Ranbu knew that it was only a matter of time before Tommy got bored and either decided to fuck off or tolerate his presence. Ranbu wasn't stupid. He knew kids like Tommy thrived off of negative attention. Which, yeah, looking back was a dickish thing to think, but were they really wrong? Being the non-confrontational person they were, Ranbu decided to just wait it out. It'd be fine. Ranbu was more than patient. Though, there were nights where they sat alone in their father's new condo, wind beating against their window, chin on knees and eyes and unpacked moving boxes, wondering what they had done to deserve this, why Tommy hated them, why Tubbo kept apologizing but said nothing during lunchtimes, why Mom was gone. Not gone. Why Mom was gone. Not gone. They tried to tell themselves just anyway. Just away. Why this one good thing had to be something he fought for. And so began the most aggravating first semester of Rambu's life. Tommy had done his best to scare Rambu off. He spent lunch making rude comments about Rambo's clothes and split, oh my god, split dye hair, and the class periods they shared were heavy, and withering glares and subtle middle fingers while the teacher's back was turned. But still, Rambo would not budge. He and Toba were friends, and no matter how jealous Tommy was of that fact, Rambo would not back down. Because sure, he might hate confrontation, but he wasn't a coward. If this was a thing he'd have to fight for, he'd draw a line in the sand and keep his finger on the trigger. So they steeled their spine, steadied their hands and voice. Rambo was unflappable, was a river slowly craving into the stubborn earth of a hillside. Rambo was not a coward, and so they would not allow Tommy to do what he did best and ruin. But then there had to be that morning. That goddamn morning during spring semester when he had decided to stop in the bathroom on his way to the library for study hall. The morning when all the faucets of the bathrooms had been left on the water gurgled out of the drain's throat. Flooded at first, Rambo had thought about just leaving whatever the fuck was going on to whichever poor soul came across the wrecked bathroom next. But as he wrinkled his nose and made for the exit, there was that sound, so small and so easily painfully ignorable. To this day, Rambo wished they had never heard Tommy cry. It was a painful sight, to be honest. Tommy had been holed up on a toilet seat. Eyes dragged to his chest. Eyes dragged to his... Knees dragged to his chest. Eyes puffy with an already shed tears and chest heaving.
Yeah.
He had his phone in his right hand and shirt bunched at the front of his left. At the front in his left, looking for all the world like a kid trying to keep his heart from ripping itself out of his chest. There's something wrong in me. They remembered Tommy wheezing, eyes brown wide and lips parted at his struggle to breathe. I can't. You need to help me. There's something wrong in there. And Rambo, stupid, horrified Rambo, who still spent each night alone in an unfamiliar house. And each school day, dodging taunt after taunt, who had just started therapy because their father said they needed help adjusting, who's beginning to forget his mother's perfume and aunt's favorite brand of liquor, and whose therapist told him it was all just stress-related, who was so afraid of forgetting his mother's face, or her laughter, or her hands on his cheeks, that Rambo had been hurting and in many ways was still hurting, and had taken one look at Tommy curled up on that toilet and said, "Why should I?"
I just want to say
that one hurts.
Yeah,
that one hurts.
That hurts, and it makes
Pain.
sense. This whole time is just like, so far in the fic, we've really grown. Like Tommy has really grown on us. We've gotten to know all of Tommy's like his insecurities and like his traumas and like followed his path basically. And in this one, we're starting to see like. Obviously, Tommy is a victim, but, like, he could be kind of a dick, you know?
Hurt people.
Yeah, he is a hurt person who ended up hurting other people sometimes, and, like, we're seeing that here, and it's, like, from Rambo's POV, he really did have no reason to help him, because Tommy was a dick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's, like, it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way. Because it's like, psychoanalyzing Tommy's behavior in this fic. It's like the whole, him acting brash and very rude, in a way of like subconsciously pushing people away from him, which in turn makes him more lonely, which makes him act that way more. It's like a whole thing of like him feeling, maybe undeserving. Or just like,
yeah,
you know, because it's the whole thing of like being ignored and all that shit. So it's like, that that really hits, especially if you think about Tommy would hear that. It's like, oh shit, like Tommy's repeating what he says, and he's like, it like feeds into his already like shit, and then it's like, but like Rambo didn't do anything wrong either, and it's like yeah, no, yeah, exactly, you know,
yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, continue.
Okay. They don't remember what happened after that. or during study hall, or when they got home after class. It was all a blur of Tobo's anxious laughter at lunch, of dimmed lights during lecture, of an empty seat at every table. He didn't know when he got home or what he did or didn't do, but he did remember that morning and that night which followed. They had gotten a phone call at 4 a.m. from Tobo, who was sobbing and asking Rambo to go to Tommy's house to check. Please, he's not answering and I can't lose him. Please just check. You're the closest. They don't remember what they had said, but they do remember dashing out the door and forgetting to grab a sweater of their keys. Grab a
sweater.
Of their keys.
I don't know. Keep going.
They remember taking the 12-minute walk to Tommy's house and a 7-minute run. They remember shouldering open an unlocked door into an empty house and running upstairs. They remember music playing in one of the rooms, water seeping from under a bathroom door, and running faucets. They do not remember what they saw. The therapist says it's a response to a traumatic or potentially disturbing event. Radwood doesn't believe that, not for a second, because even if Tommy had changed, was now all closed doors and fragile smiles, poorly packed lunches, all insomnia lace nights and missing photo albums, and mothers who were gone. He was still Tommy. He was still that kid whose tongue grew thick with cursing until his sentences slurred into one another, and Tobo would laugh. Was still that kid who was adamant that Jar Jar Binks was the best. Jar Jar Binks was the best Star Wars character, even if Rambo knew it was all plot to get under Tobo's skin, who loved poetry and music and anything that could give itself life out of rhythm, and that was still Tommy. So no, nothing bad happened that night. At least, nothing the little trio couldn't handle. Tommy was fine, sure. Tobo and Ranbu had to make sure he was home safe, and texted him every morning and night. But it was fine. They had it under control. Ranbu didn't need to regret anything or feel sorry for himself, and it was fine. So why did it feel like the world was ending? Because Tommy, brilliant, crude, endearing, obnoxious Tommy, hadn't responded to either Tobo or Ranbu's good night or good morning text in almost 20 hours and had completely dodged their numerous phone calls. The tree had planned to video call that night after Tommy's slam. And the three would chat and pretend everything could be meaningless again. That nothing had ever really changed. Not really. And Ranbu could stop feeling this crushing guilt that made them want to scream. But Tommy was a no-show. This in itself wasn't annoying. Tommy had missed enough late-night calls in the past due to his horrible sleep schedule. Relatable. That never blinked an eye. That neither blinked an eye.
Yeah.
The complete radio silence was new. Tommy never ignored good morning texts. He always made a point to respond to each one, no matter how early Ranbu or Topo sent it, and he always sent back his very own special flavor of fuck you. You're my favorite people on earth, to go with it. And sure, sometimes he got distracted and wouldn't text them back until 4 or 5 hours later. Anyways, always with a quick half apology, always still scathing wit and awkward affection. But Tommy wasn't one to ignore his friends, especially after Tobo had instilled a communicate or get fucked.
Get fucked
policy regarding the friend group after Ranbu had a family crisis from them a while back in junior year. Claiming that if you fuckers keep hiding when you're having a bad day for the sake of the rest of ours convenience, I'll put you into the fucking sun. Safe to say, they had a channel titled Mandatory Therapy in their Discord server. Nodders.
As you do.
Nodders. So yes, the world was ending. Oh, okay, well, I guess we're done. I guess we're done.
This is a different kind of fic now. It's an apocalypse.
Oh god. This is like a post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, true zombie fic.
Oh. The world was ending. Tubbo was certainly sitting in the passenger seat of Tubbo's hand-me-down Honda Civic at 3 a.m. blasting Reggaeton.
Mm-hmm.
Reggaeton. Ranbu didn't exactly know how they hadn't gotten pulled over yet, breaking every traffic law known to man and running red lights. But the world was ending, so it didn't matter. He got a ticket now, didn't it? It didn't matter if you got a ticket now, didn't it? because Tubbo was anxiously humming along to a Bad Bunny song. That music helps me calm down, Ranbu vaguely remembered. Him saying once during lunch, appraising a soggy peanut butter sandwich. It makes my mind go quiet, and Ranbu couldn't care less about the flickering of lights in the neighborhood windows as he woke the suburbs up. Because Tommy was at home. Tommy wasn't answering his phone, and Ranbu couldn't remember what happened that night in sophomore year. Because all he could hear above the music was "Why Should I?" Did you text his brothers? Ranbu asked, eyes flickering to their rear view to see an empty road. No one was on the streets this late. Did you text Will?
Yes, and he didn't answer. So I found Techno's Insta profile and DM'd him there, and then he didn't answer because apparently no one in the Watson House can answer a goddamn phone.
What about Phil? Did you try Phil?
We both know Phil wouldn't pick up anyway. He's basically non-existent.
Tubbo was fiddling with the dial now, switching from Bad Bunny to whatever screamo music they had playing on the other station. I mean... Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Sorry.
Go!
That was me. I mean, I've known Tommy for 4 years, and I haven't even met the guy.
Couldn't hurt to try, Ranbu said, but knew it was a losing argument anyway. Phil was an extraneous... Extraneous?
I actually don't know that word. Keep going.
Extraneous.
Variable in this equation, and right now, the priority was on getting to Tommy's house. Without an accident and figuring out what the fuck was going on, they sighed. God, we can't just show up without an explanation. What are we going to tell them?
Does it matter?
Tubbo mumbled, eyes pinned on the street lights streaming past as they drove. Doesn't matter what we tell them. We just need to make sure Tommy's okay. They didn't care then, and they don't care now.
Wait, that was Tubbo's line.
That was mine.
Sorry.
Oh,
I'm so sorry. I wasn't sure. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. Rambo said that.
It's fine. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. Keep going.
Rambu bit his lip. Rambu bit his lip, fingers gripping the steering wheel, as he allowed Tubbo's statements to settle it in the silence between them. The only noise, the sound of Skrillex.
Cultural references?
No. And rubber wheels on tarmac.
Yep.
Then. Is it me?
It's you.
It's me. You know it's not your fault, right? Tubbo snorted, a harsh and forgiving thing.
Bullshit. I told him to try to connect with his family, and he got hurt. Wait. I told him to give them a chance, and they ruined him.
Rambo eased the steering wheel in a turn, eyes unflinching from where they gazed at the road in front of them. Truthfully, there was no right answer here. Sure, there were many things he could say, many things that would be uttered, meaningless and empty, only to swallowed by the music blasting out the radio. There wasn't anything to say to make this go away. No quick words to plaster over the quiet like a bandage. No fast talking that could get him out of this. For once, Rambu was speechless. They felt like a coward. There's nothing wrong in me.
There's
something wrong in me.
Yeah.
There's something wrong in me. He gripped the wheel tighter next to him. Tubbo's forehead lolled against the window. You need to help me, but still he would try. Tommy isn't ruined. This is me.
Yeah, this is you.
Okay. Tommy isn't ruined. They didn't. He's fine, okay? He'll be fine. He always is. He knew it sounded desperate to his own ears. He knew that it was a flimsy attempt at confidence, but he couldn't give it that easily. And even if it's not fine, which it won't be, we'll figure it out. We got this. There's nothing the three of us can't handle, right? Tubbo didn't speak, eyes never leaving the window pane,
Mm-hmm.
and world that raced alongside them, a river threatening to give chase. Just as Rambo thought, the boy had finally resigned himself to silence, to the false words of comfort echoing over the glove compartment. Between them, Rambo whispered.
Tubbo whispered.
Tubbo whispered. I'm so sorry.
What if it isn't us three?
Rambo wished he could close his eyes. Wished he could pretend the end of the world was soft. That it was just a matter of falling away into nothing. Just something easy, like resting your head on a pillow and warm hands tracing your smile lines. He wished he could close his eyes and pretend this was just a story to be read and tucked away to collect dust. That he would wake up in an old childhood bedroom in San Francisco and hear the clink of wine glasses stems being handled just a bit too roughly and a woman's laugh. He wished he could forget this. Why should I? Their eyes were open, and a familiar house with a faintly lit porch was looming in the distance. This is still Tommy. They thought. This is still Tommy, they thought. Mouth gone dry with a sudden realization of all of this. It's still Tommy. Always was, and as long as that's true, I'll do anything I can to help him, whatever it takes. It will always be us three, they said, and for the first time, they had stumbled upon a blonde boy sobbing in a toilet stall. They truly felt brave, and as long as that's true, we can do anything. This time, Rambo would remember.
Yay!
You did it!
I want to die!
We did it!
We did it! Woo!
We did it! Woo! That was great. Rambo POV done! It's very... Yeah. Do the snaps. The snaps. It's very clear that they, like... That they've... that they've grown very attached to each other as a group and, like, depended on each other emotionally. Because Rambo... Like, even, like... Obviously, you would be very, very concerned with other friends, but, like, the harsh language was said and, like, the way that... Like... Rambo saying, like, the world is ending, and it's, like, we can do anything together, like, things like that. It's, like, it's clear that they depended on each other a lot, and they still do, like, you know?
Yeah.
Because they got tough stuff going on.
Started working on a school film. I'm actually studying efficiency. Oh, cool.
Nice! Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Bitch.
Made a friend
I
at
support you,
DSMP.
bitch!
I see there's something that I relate to. Made a friend at Dream SMP,
So that's dope.
I wonder who did that.
Man, I
For
wonder
me.
who did that.
Man, I can't believe I'm the originator of this.
It's true, though.
Yes.
I'm the one that convinced all of our friends to like Minecraft YouTubers. I am the one who did it.
Yes.
It is me.
You're the original.
I am the beginning.
It's Becca, and Becca
And I will be the end.
Yes.
You will be the end of the beginning.
Oop. But yeah. What do you guys think?
That was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The seventh chapter is still my favorite one.
Yeah, I like it a lot too. Yeah. Also,
It's very good.
I like seeing Rambo's guilt. He's so guilty.
Mm-hmm.
He's
I
like,
want to see him cry.
like he didn't do anything wrong. But he like regrets his actions so much, and it's like you know. Also, like Tommy's line of "There's something wrong in me" is like, oh, that hits so much.
Yeah.
That's like so like oh my
Relatable
god.
content.
Oof.
I mean, I definitely cried when I first read this chapter. It hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts.
It again makes me think of the wolf metaphor, the damned wolf metaphor.
It's always the down wolf metaphor.
Because he said like there's like a wolf trapped inside of me, kind of. I think he said something like along those lines.
He said like a wounded dog or something.
Yeah.
A feral wolf.
So it's like he's saying like the wounded part of him is what's wrong, like the wolf. I feel like that's
And it's also
what it's
like,
saying.
I mean, that was a little glimpse from an outsider's perspective on Tommy's, like, you know,
Homelessness.
murderer guilt,
Yeah.
thinking that like he killed his mom,
Mhm.
You're not a
that kind
murderer.
of thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't your fault. The murder happened 8 years ago.
Yeah. It was also clear he was very jealous of Rambo talking to Tubbo because Tubbo was his only lifeline. Like, he is so attached to Tubbo because he's like, he was the only person he could rely on, like, at all.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah. The jealousy is clear. The jealousy is clear.
Let your mother go. The accident wasn't your fault.
Andrew, you have to let go. The accident wasn't your fault.
Exactly what I was.
Disappears.
Oh my god.
I love that joke.
Yeah.
Sorry, to move on to like
Let your
a
mother
different
go,
topic
Mario.
just sporadically because I thought of it.
Was it your fault?
I watched those iCarly deep dives, and there was the one joke, and they're like, it's like, Betty, you have to move on. The accident, it wasn't your fault. And then they all disappear, like in the actual
Oh god.
except like it was just dubbed over.
Wow.
Was that from...
That's great.
You said it was Mario? Is
I
that
I said
from...
Wario.
Wario?
No,
The SMT4.
No, it's an iCarly,
Is it iCarly?
deep dive that this person did.
Yeah.
And
No, the
it
one
was
I
like,
said
they had dubbed over the scene of it being like,
Yeah. No, I mean like the
Carly,
original.
you have to move on. It wasn't your fault.
I have no idea.
And then
where
they all
it was
disappeared.
Wait, is that the original? Is that
No.
where it's from? Where is it from?
from. I have
No.
no idea.
I don't know where
I've
it's from.
heard it like in different ways, so I have no idea what it's from.
It's so funny.
It is so funny.
It's very
You
funny.
have to let your mother go, Wario. The accident wasn't your fault.
You have to move on.
Oh.
Oh my god.
The accident. It wasn't your
I'm gonna
fault.
hit you. I'm gonna bitch that.
No. Sheesh.
No.
I can't do the sheesh. I can't do the sheesh.
Sheesh.
How do you do the sheesh? You get to go like really high pitched, really
Sheesh.
quick. Sheesh.
Sheesh. I can't believe we're sheesh.
We all
monster.
wish we could do the Jack Manifold.
Yeah, Jack Manifold does a
Version of
really good
sheesh.
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 He does an amazing sheesh.
Yeah. So readers' notes. Author's notes. Author's notes.
Reader's notes, yes.
Author's notes. Flu. Did I hate this chapter? Yes. Did I write it at midnight in a dark dorm room, post 5 hours of straight studying? Also, yes.
Oh god.
Are there typos?
Absolutely.
Either way,
We
hope
love
you
them.
enjoyed. We love you.
Ayo.
Either way, hope you enjoyed. If you're here for the Zeeskeit live update, here's what happened since the last month and a half I've seen you guys. Moved into college, aka uni. They're on their uni arc.
Ooh,
Across
yeah,
the
that's-
country,
Uni
I
arc.
now am taking 5 classes and have over 40 hours of reading a week. But seriously, I really love my classes. I have a presentation
That's
in the
fun.
morning. Oh no. Gender crisis again. Oh god, not gender crisis.
Oh,
Wow.
Relatable content.
Yep.
Relatable.
Relatable. Started
Relatable
working
content.
on a school film. I'm actually scanning locations this
Not to
weekend.
me though. I figured it out. I'm good. I figured it out.
Yeah.
I'm still in the process.
Same. This specifically is Mads. Right. I started working on a school film. Smile. That's Mads.
Smile.
Oh.
I made it from the juice.
I hope so one day.
Yeah, one day. Single tear.
Just a single team.
Found out that I have trauma. That was a doozy, and had a paper due
Ooh.
immediately after.
Oh.
What? You have
Oh, God.
trauma? I totally didn't know.
I couldn't tell by the way this is written.
Man, I could not tell at
We
all.
all have it.
No, I could not tell at all. Totally no. Anyway.
And that never dawned on me.
Nope. Read some very, very nice comments. Y'all are so nice. I can't wait for what? Slash
That
pause.
person's name is Dark as Nyx.
Yeah.
We stand Nyx.
I don't know who that is, but okay.
Nyx is the goddess of night
Oh, nice.
in Greek mythology.
Nice. And also a character from a video game where all the Greek mythology people were put in a video game.
Oh.
I'm talking specifically
That's
about...
Fire Emblem?
No.
That's
um,
Hades.
Yeah, Hades. I'm talking
Not
about Hades.
Hades?
Oh!
Oh.
Sorry.
I love Nyx in Hades. She's my favorite.
Yes. Yes.
I love
Hades
her.
is great. Nyx is great.
Yeah. There's so much more, including communal
Versus
bathroom
baby.
shenanigans that includes someone eating a sandwich while I was trying to shower. But
Wait,
that's it.
Wait, what? Wait, what?
Anyways,
That's
thank
just
you,
college, baby.
thank you guys
That's
so much
just
for the
fun.
well wishes and poetry recommendations. It was def nice to see something to read while I sat alone during orientation because I couldn't find any of my buildings for my activities. See y'all soon.
Yay.
I already left a coup.
We love author. We love author. Author does good job. Round of applause for Arthur. Round of applause for author.
Round of applause for author.
Round of a snap.
Hey, step. I don't know if you can hear that.
Oh, jeez.
Different mic.
I have hiccup.
Oh no.
Everything is broken.
Well, I think that concludes our reading session for today.
Yeah.
We should move on because I want to see the. Well, not like I don't want to see the next chapter because I want to see the. Yeah.
You want to see the warnings?
No, I wanted to see the title.
Oh, the title.
This ancient
The
practice
title of chapter
predicting
9.
The future and another's prone body.
Yeah, this is an ancient practice predicting the future in another prone's body.
Oh.
And another's prone body.
Yeah.
Title from Haruspec by Teresa Pham Carcillo.
Honestly, I think author Zeeskeit just keeps getting better. Because I also love this chapter.
Yeah.
They're all good.
Yeah, they're all good. All of them are good.
I love this chapter as well. It also made me cry.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yay.
It's
Chapter
on
9.
its.
Also,
I think it has broke my record for crying the most at Fix.
Oh no.
Because it broke the record that Passerin had.
damn.
Because I'm pretty sure I was like straight crying through like 3 chapters of Passerin. But I think this one with more chapters has made me cry.
That makes damn. Also, to get an idea of what the next chapter may contain, trigger warnings: mention/reference death of a parent, implied sexual activities, very very vague and not anything weird though. It's about discovering your sexuality.
Hello.
Coming out, internalized aphobia, going nonverbal, implied/reference suicide attempt, implied/reference drinking, hyperbolic threats, implied/reference child neglect, and lots of cursing.
That's not new.
So there's
Internalized ace.
It's all very good though.
Relatable content again.
Woo! Yay!
Wow. It's so relatable.
It's so relatable.
What? This shouldn't be relatable. We should stop making this relatable.
Stop making this big relatable. Internalized
it.
phobia.
God damn it, author. Why you
Internalized
gotta be
phobia,
like
my
this?
hated. Not beloved.
Beloved.
Not my beloved.
My abhorred.
My
I like using
abhorred.
abhorred
My despise.
because it's like the perfect opposite of beloved is like my abhorred.
Yeah.
My abhorred.
Well,
Internalized phobia.
abhorred.
My abhorred.
that's the end. This is goodbye.
Or
So
at least
long.
for now.
Farewell. Adieu, say goodbye.
Adieu, say
Adieu.
goodbye.
Adieu.
I do.
I can't remember the next part of the song.
Neither can I, but I do know it.
Anyways, bye.
Bye bye. Thanks for
Bye-bye.
joining if you even did.